The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
On behalf of myself and Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, we would like to wish you a very happy holidays. And don't forget, Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is open 24/7 for emergency services to make sure you stay warm this holiday season. Go to standardheating.com today.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93.
A deer recently broke into an elementary school in New Jersey, and this is embarrassing, won a spelling bee.
Alaska Airlines has announced plans to buy Hawaiian Airlines for nearly $2 billion. Alaska and Hawaiian combined will be called Technically American Airlines.
A gym teacher in Florida was arrested after he threw a basketball at a sixth grader and then elbowed him in the mouth, knocking out his front tooth. The teacher was forced to resign and return to the Golden State Warriors.
A woman in Ohio, convicted of throwing a burrito bowl at a Chipotle worker, has been sentenced to spend 2 months working in fast food restaurants. Fast food, where your job is other people's jail.
Nick Cannon revealed that he spends up to $200,000 every year taking all 12 of his children to Disneyland. That's how bad condoms feel.
It's go time.
Let me tell you, we're very happy to be here. Very happy to have you dialed in this morning to the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. We're all coming off a hell of a busy weekend. Oh, a hell of a bit. We ought to start by thanking everyone for showing up and donating at our Toys for Tatas holiday toy drive last Friday morning at Rick's Cabaret by Dam Gentlemen's Club. Another terrific showing by our always very charitable listening audience, and from what I know, a hell of a good time. I mean, a hell of a good. I fell in love in under 10 seconds when I walked in the joint.
And then you fell out of love and fell in love again, and then out of love. I mean, I was asking you to pick a favorite, and every few seconds there was a new one.
God, but that one, the first one, the blonde,
yeah,
that was off to our right.
Yep,
that was the first one. The rest of them I don't remember. But you're right. I was like that old Johnny Jovi.
John Bon Jovi.
The old Bon Jovi song. How did he sing it? Go ahead, Josh.
Bad Medicine.
No.
I'll be there for you.
In and out of love.
Runaway.
In and out of love. Okay, we had a great time, and we thank everyone for coming to Toys for Tatas. Now, I couldn't stick around terribly long on Friday. What did I miss? Go.
Oh, you missed a big one.
Go, I said.
The girl you... I'm trying.
You're
the girl
right.
you...
I don't know what's wrong with me.
The girl you fell in love with right away.
Really?
Yeah.
There was something... The two of you made a connection?
No.
Oh.
A gentleman who used to work here. I know you don't like us to mention his name, but he tends to go to Toys for Tatas every year. He came up to me. He's like, "Hey, where's Nick?" And I said, "Well, he just left. He had a family thing to go to." And he had purchased you a lap dance from the girl you fell in love with when you first walked in.
You're making this up.
But
He did not.
He did too. And, you know, he's a multimillionaire. He was going to go get his $20 back. And I'm like, dude, you can't do that. No. Like, you can't. You can't go ask her for the money back because dude had to go to a family deal.
What a derelict.
I know. A multi-millionaire over and over and over.
Never had to work for that money either.
No.
He just kind of got it, you know.
I had to talk him down. Like, I will give you the money not to go ask this girl for it back.
Isn't that something? That's kind of sickening that he would even have that thought.
Yeah.
To go take $20 back from...
He was on his way to do it.
He's got $20 million in his bank account.
That's right.
Just for falling out of the right mother. That's hilarious. What a nice gesture on his part. I guess. Yeah, right?
That was nice of him.
Maybe
you could stop in again and make up for missing out.
I would really like to stop in again and see her because she was absolutely stunning. And like you saw me, Josh, I was just locked in from the get-go on this blonde.
And then there was another blonde, the one in the Santa suit, or I guess Mrs. Claus might be a better way to put it.
That wasn't my lady. That was your lady.
What? I thought it was your lady, too.
No, I thought maybe that was You're the one who tugged on my jacket and said, look at that one over there.
I thought you'd like her. I was trying to point her out.
You know what? You're right. That is what you were doing.
And who wouldn't?
So that dude, the dude who tried to buy me the lap dance before I had to get the hell out of there, he must really badly want to hear me say his name on the radio, but I'm not going to do it.
You won't do it.
I won't do it.
I think he closed her down.
He walked out on us.
And why was he dressed business casual?
That's what I said. That was quite a look.
Because he's a dork. Everything else played out nicely?
Oh, it was perfect.
Yeah.
You know, I got a chance to go out a couple times and just see the stash. And when I went out, the vehicles were packed. And they're like, yeah, we've already made 2 trips to drop some of these off and come back, so we have more room. So thanks to everybody who came out. It was great.
Truckloads of toys again.
And as always, you know, folks came in for a couple seconds. They said, hey, I got to go here or there, dropped off some toys and took off. So
hell of a deal.
Yeah, it was fun.
Was it just me or did I get shorter? Boy, a lot of those girls were very tall.
Well, the
high heels helped.
Yeah, the 8-inch heels do something for that.
But
that'll help.
Every single time I'd be like, whoa, I have to look up. Man, were they tall.
Well, you're not the tallest guy in the world, but yeah, it's...
But I don't remember them being that tall.
Every year, Wapple, every year, you just get a little bit shorter, and those heels get a little bit taller.
I've been shrinking for years. True story.
Yeah.
No, Wapple, it's the heels.
I know, but just in years past, I never really saw him to be that tall.
You're going to have to come to grips with this at one point or another, Wapple.
That's hilarious that's what you noticed.
I know.
You're going to have to come to grips with this.
Not the nudity, not the alcohol, not the drunken. They were so tall.
Yeah.
We'll help you with this. We will. I promise we'll help you.
Ashley, you were tough to find. So we were kind of hanging in the back because that was really the only place you could talk to people. Mm-hmm. And it was great. I met a couple new Jesuses, a couple new Shesuses. Flex Jesus.
Love Flex Jesus.
I don't know if you met Flex Jesus, Nick.
Doesn't ring a bell.
He came up with the name there, so maybe you met him before he came up with it.
Could be.
And he had a great story. So he was in the military. He's stationed overseas. And the COs would sometimes come in and inspect your room, right? And he had a room with a couple other guys just to make sure there's nothing in there that shouldn't be.
Maybe he had to endure a locker box inspection or something
Possibly,
like that.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we're going to have a locker box inspection.
So it was a surprise inspection, and his CO is a woman, and she came in with a couple other folks, and he said, he got out of the shower, and he was looking good, and especially good. Now, he was in great shape, right, when we met him. But he showed us a picture back then. He was a little better shape, a little more cut.
He got out the shower. He's looking cut, ripped.
Yep.
And there's the CO and other folks ready to throw what was the word you use? A surprise inspection on him.
Well, before this happened, like I said, he comes out of the shower.
Oh, it wasn't simultaneously that he came out. Okay.
He comes out of the shower. There's a mirror there, and he kind of catches a glimpse and goes, "Man, I'm looking cut." So he starts flexing. Just to check it out. And he's flexing, and all of a sudden he looks, and there's this CO and a couple other people watching him, and so they gave him the nickname Flex after that, which I thought was great.
That's great.
He's a little embarrassed telling us the story. I'm like, dude, that's an awesome story. And he showed us a picture. He deserved it.
Yeah. I'd flex too if I looked like he did.
Hey, I wouldn't mind having that nickname if I looked like that. So it was awesome talking to Flex Jesus, a few other people.
You met some nice people.
Absolutely. There was one guy, and I didn't catch his name, and that was because he was too drunk to tell it to me.
Yeah.
And I can't remember, Dana, if you were standing there or not. But this guy was, there's the obnoxious drunk, the happy drunk, the sad drunk, the angry drunk.
Sure.
This was I'm close to murdering people drunk, quiet. Just the scary quiet.
That scares me.
I don't like that.
And he would just kind of stare straight ahead. Somebody would say something to him, and then you see there's some wheels turning, and maybe 30 seconds later he had something to say, but the conversation had already moved on. Were you there, Dana, for that guy?
I was not there for that guy.
I think I was.
Were you?
Yep.
Okay, so you know.
Yes.
That guy was creepy.
He was drunk.
Drunk. Yeah, I don't think he knew what planet he was on.
You get all types, don't you?
You sure do.
You get all types.
And people kept commenting on the food, and it's the same as every year. Met a woman who's like, after all these years of you guys talking about it, I still thought you were embellishing.
No.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
I don't remember them bringing out lunch before. I guess maybe I didn't ever pay attention.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
they do a switch
definitely.
over, like McDonald's.
Yeah. They brought some wings out and everything. It was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, one year they had like pot roast and stuff.
That's awesome.
I remember that.
I've been there for 3 meals. I've experienced that before. 3 separate meals. Hey, thanks again, everybody. Saw some familiar faces, met some new people. And again, thanks for your donations. That's great to hear, Josh, that they were just loading and unloading the vehicles up and down.
Yeah, and we were able to add 2 charities.
Oh, really?
I mean, that's how big this thing was.
F me. We had
Thanks
so
to
many.
the brother and sisterhood. Yeah.
Because I think we started with 3, correct?
Yeah, and we added a couple more.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's exactly what it's all about. And that was just the beginning of our weekend. I personally want to hear how Josh's weekend went from there because, well, first off, have you been initiated into a fraternity at Mankato State University? Because last week we were all excited when you told us that because of some flavor of the month boyfriend that your stepdaughter has.
They've already broken up, but yeah, go ahead.
Did they break up over the weekend? Your stepdaughter's flavor of the month boyfriend is a fraternity member down at Mankato State University, and you were going to go down there this past weekend for something.
His graduation.
In December?
Yeah. They had 3 of the colleges, within the school system graduated.
Don't try to explain it to me. I wouldn't understand anyway. I don't know why I'm sitting here acting like I know anything about when college graduates do. Forget it.
I don't know when it usually happens either, but I can tell you we're in the stadium where they play basketball.
Sure.
It was packed.
Sure.
It was over 2 hours. I was laughing because at first they call some folks out and it's all the professors, and it was hard to hear. It was just such a big place and there's so many people. It was hard to hear what they said. So here comes the procession, and I'm looking for, maybe a future son-in-law. I don't know. I'm looking for him, and it's all these old people coming out. I didn't realize they said the professors. And with all the times we've joked about how old the student body is at Mankato, I thought about filming it and sending it to you guys because I'm like, this is perfect.
That's too good.
Like, they're all in their 50s and 60s.
That's hilarious.
Nobody was joking.
And you were thinking, man, we're underselling our on-air bit about the age of Mankato State students. You were thinking, man, we're underselling the bit. These people are in their friggin' 60s.
So, my stepdaughter's boyfriend, he was one of the earlier rows, right? They call through. So there hadn't been a lot of kids that had gone through, and I wanted to yell something, but I didn't want to be obnoxious. There's, like I said, it was packed. There's people all over the place.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I wish he would have went later because it was insane with some of the cheering. People brought whistles. I think I still can't hear. I don't know if it's from Friday or Saturday.
Really?
It was so loud, people screaming, and it was crazy.
I haven't been to one of those deals in 25 years.
So I shortchanged him. I mean, he hears a...
Yeah.
And then there's other kids that are like, get some! Everybody's screaming. Like I said, blowing those whistles, which was too much.
Air horns and whistles and snare drums and everything, huh?
Oh, yeah, here's somebody, local 322 Carpenter Jesus was there, and the first speaker sounded like a robotic announcer from Squid Games. I agree. I think that was the guy the president or whatever of the school. But they had some really good speakers. Some of the, each, I don't know how to... I don't know what you say. Each college, right? Each discipline had a student speaker. Yeah. And they were great. Really good.
Well, then did you go to the frat party or not?
I found out they're a dry frat. But this was a morning to late evening thing, or late for me. I mean, like we stayed until about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then we headed back home. But you look like you have something to say.
I'm appalled.
I'm with you
I didn't know
there.
such a thing existed.
Now, did you say a dry fart?
No, I said a dry frat, like fraternity.
They don't drink any alcohol or beer?
Turns out they do, but not like at the fraternity itself.
What the hell is that all? I've never heard of that.
A dry frat?
What do they do then? Make paper mache?
Yeah, they make paper mache.
I've never heard of that.
It's a lot harder stuff. Have you heard of cocaine?
Oh.
Yeah.
That
a
is
little bit of that.
That's a first for me. I've never heard of that in my life.
But
So
we
then-
ran into a bunch of the Mankato State hockey players.
Yeah.
And they were nice enough to include us. We got to use their senior discount at Happy Chef.
I do love the Mankato Happy Chef.
Yeah, 55 and over, you get half price.
That's a good deal.
Okay, I'm just throwing that out. That was a joke. I have no idea if they have half price. I don't want anybody showing up being disappointed. No clue if they have a senior discount or
It's
not.
possible you're disappointed at the Happy Chef in Mankato.
All right, just to make that very clear, I don't know if they have a senior discount or not. But if
gonna
there was a
look it up.
place nice enough that does, I could imagine Happy Chef.
Well, that's too bad. I was the dry frat. My God, I never thought I'd hear that said out loud. I was all excited. Thinking maybe that, you would have got into the beers and the shots and you got your shirt off and maybe you hooked up with a college girl or something like that.
Well, no, the closest would be at dinner. We went to kind of a fancy restaurant down there.
There's no such thing in Mankato.
It's perspective.
Sure.
Right. And so everyone was getting like wine, right? And so, or wanted to. And so I was looking, and the only ones they had, it was like there was only one that was by the glass. Everything else was like by the bottle. I'm like, forget it. I'll wait. Usually I'm good for drinking once every 2 years or something like that. I'll save it.
Did you ended up spending the night down there?
No, we left like 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Ooh.
That's late.
So for me, essentially, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
that was a fun ride home.
I bet it was.
with all the weather.
Friggin' A, it was. Yeah, I mean.
Oh, it was sketchy, yeah.
How was bartending? I mean,
Speaking of drinking.
Yeah, and how were the roads by you guys?
Pretty slick, but
Yeah.
that's pretty close to my neighborhood. Speaking of drinking, boy, am I thankful that I am not a bartender. That is one tough gig. We want to thank Ashley and Janelle will be coming in tomorrow, I imagine, so she can give her thank yous as well when she gets here. But I know I'd like to thank the Stanchion out in Corcoran for having me and Ashley and Janelle out there Saturday night as part of a fundraiser, a holiday fundraiser. We were guest bartenders for an hour and a half Saturday night, and boy, they whooped our ass.
That was so much fun.
Pretty busy?
It was a great time. It was choked.
That's great.
Oh, yeah.
It was a lot of fun, and not that I was completely naive to the job that bartenders do day after friggin' day. I spend a lot of time at a bar. You guys know that. But I have an even greater appreciation for bartending after what we went through on Saturday night. Again, it was a lot of fun, and a lot of money was raised.
You mentioned last year they got 10 grand.
That was the word last year.
Wow.
It was hovering up to that point when I left at 11 o'clock on Saturday night. But we got the 7:30 to 9 shift, I think was our shift.
Yep.
And we were just, frantic back there trying to keep up.
Did you make any mixed drinks or anything?
Yes.
You did?
They gave us about a 45-second tutorial before we went out there.
Was Jack and Coke the big one? I was asking you guys, like, what would be the most common, and you thought Jack and Coke?
Captain Coke,
Or
I
Captain
think.
Coke, yeah.
Probably, but Josh, I mean, it was so fast and furious. I have very little memory of what exactly I was doing. You almost just became robotic after a while. I wasn't a very good bartender by any stretch of the imagination.
You did great.
Oh, I don't know about that. It's my first time. The most difficult thing, one of the real bonuses that Ashley and Janelle and I had was that we didn't have to ring anything up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was really nice.
There were a couple of gals who just hovered by the registers, and we just told them what was ordered, and they rang it up for us, or else, my God, personally, you know how I am with anything.
That would have been miserable.
Any technology, even a cash register throws me. I probably would have served a total of 5 drinks if I had to ring it up.
Yeah, the drawer would have been so short.
Oh, God, I'm so bad with arithmetic just to go 10, 11, 12. I'm horrible with that. So that was a big benefit that we had someone ringing up the drinks. But the hardest part for me, obviously, get me a bottle of Bud Light, get me a Coors Light. Fair enough. The hardest part for me was it was so hard to hear, and people were shouting out drinks that I had never heard of. So it took a customer 5 times hollering it in my face before I was able to understand that they wanted a neutral.
Oh,
which is some kind of a seltzer drink.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I haven't heard of that.
So the guy's like, yeah, I'll take a raspberry neutral. And I said, a bootral? A raspberry neutral. I'm like, an oopal? I couldn't. And the guy's like, raspberry neutral. And I had to say, like you put a car in neutral? And he goes, yes! I'm sorry, dude. I can't hear, and I've never heard of that in my life. The other one that threw me was a guy ordered Don Julio.
Oh, yeah.
Tequila.
I had never heard that said out loud in my life, and I could not make out what he was trying to tell me. So that guy almost stabbed me to death. Because I'm just like, dude, I can't understand what you're saying. Don Julio! But we had a great time. It was just, wow, what a friggin' tough gig. My legs were cooked when it was over from walking back and forth. But a great crowd, met some great people. Word up to the Devin Worley Band. They filed into the bar after we did, and I was able to say hello to a couple members of the band, and I believe their manager. You know, they're listeners. I've seen them play once and really dig them, so that was a cool, to be able to be working an event with them. The folks who run the stanchion were all awesome, weren't they, Ashley?
Yeah, they're really great people. I had a lot of fun.
I'd imagine you dominated. You've got a lot of experience bartending.
Yeah, I think so. The owner of the bar, I can't remember her name, Nick. I'm terrible with names.
Christy.
Yeah, yep, Christy, and then her daughter, they both joked that I was hired.
Oh, yeah.
So I imagine that means I did a pretty good job.
That's great.
Yeah.
Actually, we were doing the one for you, one for me method of bartending.
No. I didn't want to get anybody in trouble, but it was fun because Janelle, whenever she needed a mixed drink or a tap beer, she came to me.
She couldn't figure out a tap beer?
Well,
she just didn't.
I suppose the pour. You got to pour the. Yeah.
She also asked me to pour a couple of taps for her, and there were a couple of the taps that were more difficult than the others.
Yeah, definitely.
Where and I failed too at that, where the tap was just kind of squirrely, where you just end up with a big glass of foam.
Yeah.
Remember the old days at the keg parties?
Right.
Yep.
There were a couple times where I gave a guy a glass of foam and said, just drink it for Christ's sake. It's a freaking it's a charity thing. Don't get up my ass. I'm sorry. I'm brand new. But yeah, so Janelle, I'll tell you something about Janelle, and she'll be here tomorrow hopefully, and she can talk about it too. She was taking it seriously at first. The look on her face for the first half hour was pure terror.
Poor Janelle.
So true.
Because she didn't want to make folks wait too long. She wanted to be great at it, and that's a benefit to her, I guess, her personality. But she was really looking nervous and a little bit scared of the whole situation. But we all did all right. I got hollered at a couple times too by customers because I was taking time to drink my beer before I was serving them theirs.
Oh yeah,
But it's like,
that could be frustrating.
It's like, look, dude, I'm racing back and forth back here. You got to allow me to stay hydrated, for Christ's sake. We had a really good time. There was another thought I had on Janelle, but I can't come up with what it was. Well, one of my best friends embarrassed her right from the get-go. Right when we came out behind the bar, one of my best friends stands up. He's like right in the front row, up against the bar. And he lifted up his shirt and demanded that Janelle sign his chest.
Oh, I think I can guess who that was.
Yeah, write it down. Write it down. Well, you can go ahead and say it, really. If
Is
you
it
want.
Big Al?
No. Big Al wasn't there.
Oh, he wasn't. Okay.
It was,
Merz.
No, Merz
Really?
wasn't there either. It was my pal that intimidates you the most.
Oh, there's a couple of them. Rick?
Yeah, it was Rick. There was a thought on Janelle that I had, and I lost it now. But she was really very, very much taking, giving it her best effort.
Mm-hmm.
She was. But yeah, those taps could be tricky. Hell, I'd love to do it next year though. That was a cool scene.
Oh yeah.
Cool scene. Oh my God.
Yeah, that sounds fun. It really did sound like a fun event, and that was so cool to include the folks here. I really wish I could have made it.
Yeah. Man.
I haven't been to a bar that busy in a very long time.
Is it packed?
Oh yeah.
God.
I mean, as soon as we got there, it was packed.
Yeah,
Luckily, I locked eyes with Nick right away. I was like, all right, as long as I can get to him.
We might have never found each other. Yeah. We might have never found each other.
You were there too?
Ashley, you had quite the weekend. Friday, I almost forgot about this. At Toys for Tatas, our boss came up to me and he's like, hey, can you kind of keep an eye on Ashley and make sure she has less than 10 drinks this morning? Because you had responsibilities Friday night.
Yep, yeah, I even forgot too. I did a stage announcement intro for Daughtry.
How'd that go?
All the 50-year-old
really
women
well.
just going crazy?
Yeah, it actually went really well, and I think it helps that a lot of the audience were 93X fans. So
well, wasn't it a 93X concert?
Yeah, exactly. And so the last time I did a stage intro,
it was our show.
Last time I did a stage intro, it was not that case, so I was more nervous. At least these people were familiar with what station I was talking about and all that.
I forget, what was the name of the concert?
The 93X Nutcracker.
And there were people that listened to this station at the 93X Nutcracker?
But David Lee Rock came on stage with me, so that was the cool part.
Did he talk?
No,
Lee
he's not allowed
Rock.
to.
Our mascot, you mean, David Lee Rock.
A lot of people ask me about David Lee Rock.
It was so interesting trying to get him up on stage, because he doesn't have the best vision ever, and he's hard to fit through small places, and I thought for sure he was going to go down.
Speaking of Ashley's interesting comment there about how there were 93X listeners familiar with 93X at a 93X holiday concert.
A 93X, it's got 93X in the name.
I made one little mistake behind the bar at the stanchion. I mean, aside from probably mixing drinks terribly and not understanding what people... I made plenty of mistakes behind the bar when it comes to straight up bartending, but I made the mistake. I made another mistake where I assumed everyone there understood the gimmick that was happening that night, which was guest bartenders, people who are inexperienced behind the bar serving you drinks for charity, right?
Yep.
Because early on in the process, some younger dude, and he was a big dude, he hollers at me from about the third row. He goes, yeah, I'll take a couple of Coors Lights and a Captain Coke. And I said, okay, that'll be whatever, $15. And he's like, how much? And I said, 15. And he goes, 50? And I said, no, $15. And I said, look, I'll throw you the F out of here. For God's sake, open up your ears, jackass. I'll throw you out of here if you can't understand what I'm saying. And I assumed, well, this guy's going to go, ha, 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 because I'm a guest bartender. He looked at me as if to say, are you friggin' nuts?
No.
And I said, oh, I'm kidding, obviously. Do you see what's going on here? And the guy's like, I don't even... So I figured he knew the bit, and here I am, I'm dumping F-bombs on him.
Oh, no.
And calling him stupid and whatnot, thinking he's going to go, oh, funny, the guest bartender. He was completely lost. Why am I being F-bombed by this bartender? I've been here for 30 seconds, After a while, we warmed up to each other, but he was completely thrown by my attitude, Comedy bit gone wrong,
Somebody texted in and said it might have been a local because a lot of the locals didn't know. They hadn't heard about it, and apparently, they were expecting karaoke or whatever that night. We're a little surprised.
Well, they did have some karaoke. Oh, at any rate, there you effing go. So we had a busy weekend. A busy, stinking weekend, but loads of fun. And thanks again to Rick's Cabaret.
Yeah, too busy, but fun.
Thanks to the stanchion. Thanks to Mankato State. And the 93X Nutcracker.
Yeah, Rick's, everybody was in a great mood,
Oh.
How can you not be?
Yeah, well, you're always looking at the managers to see how they're handling it.
Yeah.
Right? How they doing. And there were
kinda
smiles left and right.
Here's the deal. Before we get the hell out of here, meaning go to commercial, another close pal to the Half-Ass Morning Show, Arthur's Jewelers. We got something cooking with Arthur's Jewelers this Christmas. They want your Christmas, Josh. You, meaning our listeners, they want your Christmas to rock.
Do they really?
Yes,
That's awesome.
They do. Arthur's is giving you a chance to win a 1.5 carat lab-grown brilliant cut to Corey diamond. Here's what you got to do to win that 1.5 carat lab-grown round brilliant cut to Corey diamond. Listen to our program every day. And just before 9, we'll be dumping a keyword on you to text. A keyword for you to text. Each day we'll pick one entry and hook them up with tickets, like to a hockey game or something like that, right? Each day we'll pick one entry, hook them up with tickets, and then put them in the running to win the diamond. Easy as that. You listen for that keyword to text, you win a prize, we throw your name into the bucket, and you'll be in the running to win the diamond, all sponsored by Arthur's Jewelers, the Twin Cities destination for diamond jewelry. So before the end of today's show, we'll hop on that for the very first time of the week.
They're awesome. Those guys, I mentioned it before, year after year. They've supported this radio station for as long as I can remember. Gotten to know them over the last couple decades, and they truly, this is not a sponsorship thing. Okay, it's a sponsorship thing. That's not why I'm saying it, though.
Right.
They really are great. I've seen them do stuff. They wouldn't take any credit for it. I have seen them do so many charitable things. And a couple times, like there's one time I was almost in tears with something in particular they did that they don't want any credit for.
That's cool.
But I want to give them credit for it because they are absolutely awesome dudes. And you went there, I went there.
I love those guys.
They saved me from buying glass. They're like, well, which diamond do you want? I'm like, I'll take that one right there. Looks beautiful. I'll take it. And the guy's like, this is glass.
Yeah.
This is not a real diamond. It's just to show off the ring itself. I would have bought it. I didn't know.
They're bros. They really are.
They are so good. I love those guys.
They're good bros. And checks, of course. So there you go. Be listening. Are you ready to go, everybody?
Yeah, let's do it.
Move the hell on. Let's play a series of commercials and all kinds of other nonsense and then come back on the program.
Half-assed morning show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Grace here, customer service rep at Standard Heating. I'm proud to work for a company that understands and takes care of our fellow Minnesotans. Our weather here can be a little unpredictable and even extreme. That's why we've been here for 93 years and counting, to keep our community safe and comfortable.
On behalf of myself and Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, we would like to wish you a very happy holidays. And don't forget, Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is open 24/7 for emergency services to make sure you stay warm this holiday season. Go to standardheating.com today.
Susie Schuster and Amy Trask present offbeat conversations and expert sports commentary as they ask, what the football?
Carson Wentz got signed by the Rams. I sat in those league owners meetings for almost 30 years, and the trade deadline was a hot topic. Push the trade deadline back so that teams that are in contention still have an opportunity to sign people. And there were other owners who said, no, we don't want players rented and we don't want fire sales. They had to make an addition, and they chose what they thought was best. I'm just not wowed by him.
What the Football? The podcast is available Tuesdays, wherever you listen.
Stupid news on the Half-assed morning show.
Stupid news. All right. Our first crack at it for the week. Is it too early for hard-ons?
Well, a lot of people wake up with them, you know, so I'm going to say no.
I need to be more clear. What I mean by that is a hard-on of a human being.
This is the time where we usually learn about them.
One of those big tough guys who just can't help but act like an over-the-top tool bag. That kind of a hard-on. Is it too early to talk about someone like that?
Nah. All right. I say let her rip.
I'm very entertained by dudes like that because they think they're fooling everybody. You know, they think we can't see right through their little act. They just can't help but be a complete tool bag. And then, as I've said before, after they let their childlike rage get the better of them, they go home and cry themselves to sleep. But they think they're fooling us. They're not fooling us. Here we go. This is one hell of a story. And we're going to be here for a while. A cop in Oklahoma is in trouble for beating up a sex shop worker. The story here says this cop had a little meltdown at the dildo shop. Got into an argument with his lady friend. They were arguing over which big fat rubber dong they were going to buy. And then he tuned up the dude who was working at the sex shop at the time. Listen to how this puke operates. So He goes by the name of David DeWitt. Let's call him Dildo Dave.
I like that.
Perfect.
Dildo Dave. He's a cop with one of the local sheriff departments down there in Oklahoma. A few nights ago, he and his lady went over to Christie's Toy Box.
Well.
Sex shop in town. And word is pretty quickly, the two of them began arguing about sex toys. Every time the lady pointed out a rubber dong that she thought she might like to pleasure herself with, Dildo Dave got all pissy because the dildonks that she wanted to attack herself with were, quote, bigger than him.
Wouldn't be difficult for me to find one of those at a sex shop. Wouldn't have to look far.
That bothered Dildo Dave quite a bit. She kept pointing at dildos that were bigger than him.
That's kind of the point, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought so.
At one point, the clerk dude who was working that night at Christie's Toy Box, he had to get between Dildo Dave and his lady because the clerk said it looked like Dildo Dave was going to, quote, backhand his woman. He was getting himself into position where he looked like he was going to crack her across the mouth. So the clerk asked Dildo Dave to leave the shop. Now, Dildo Dave is not only a hard-on of a human being, but he's also a cop, and that's a bad mix, as we all know. So when Dildo Dave was asked to leave the sex shop, he snapped back at the clerk by hollering, quote, F you, I'm a cop.
Oh, God.
Because he's special, right?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, things calmed down enough to where Dildo Dave and his lady were all set to check out their items at the front counter. The clerk, just doing his job, asked Dildo Dave if he would like to buy some batteries for their sex toy. Dildo Dave somehow took that question all wrong, and he said to the clerk, "What the F did you say to me, fat boy?" At that point, the clerk was done, right? He's done with this. So he said, "Dude, get the F out of my shop." And that's when Dildo Dave's childlike rage took over, and he went behind the counter and started punching the clerk in the face.
Oh, no.
And in the rib cage. Boom, couple in the boiler. Boom, boom. He's beating up the sex toy clerk. Shop guy. Little childlike Dildo Dave also threw candy and mints all around the store. Ah! He's throwing things now. And then the clerk retaliated by tossing a dildo at Dildo Dave.
One that was probably bigger than Dildo Dave.
Heck yeah.
Dave shouted, "Call the effing cops. I'm an officer of the law."
Not behaving like one.
He yelled that on his way out the store. Dildo Dave sped on out of there. He drove on out of there in a black convertible Bentley.
Oh,
they do pretty well in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Huh?
Dildo Dave.
Now, are you ready to be sick to your stomach? Dildo Dave's Bentley has a license plate.
Oh, no.
Personalized license plate. And it says on the plate, Invicta, which is Latin for undefeatable or unconquerable. That's him. I'm Invicta. Can't defeat me. It all makes sense, though, now, doesn't it? That he be acting like that?
Yep.
Now, we're not done yet. We're still going here. The next thing you know, Dildo Dave was pulled over for speeding. And he was about to be let go until the cop that pulled Dave over got the call about the sex shop meltdown. And at that point, the cop arrested fellow cop Dildo Dave. He's been charged with misdemeanor simple assault. He's been suspended with pay. And the local cops are going to conduct a probe to find out what the hell is wrong with Dildo Dave. They should have fired him when they saw his personalized license plate. See that word, Invicta? Bet you don't even know what it means. Do you? Do you? It's Latin. It means unconquerable. Come at me, fat boy. Come on.
Usually people are in a good mood at those places because they know what's going to precede their shopping experience.
They know what's coming up next.
Proceed was the wrong word. Invicta!
Dude. I'll be damned. What the hell is this? A listener texted in that said, I'd be upset too if my wife picked out a 5'11" dildo. I don't know what he means by that, but I like the sound of it. All right, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but not everyone who wishes you a happy holiday truly means it. Hate to tell you that, but it's true. A 32-year-old gal called Heather Wright. She walked into a jewelry store in Alabama last week, and she hollered, Happy Holidays!
Oh, that's nice.
And then she pepper sprayed everybody!
Oh, no!
What the hell?
It made me feel a little bit better that she wished us a happy holidays before we got
that would make
sprayed.
me feel worse.
No, I would think she didn't mean it, Dana.
Yeah. I just take what I can get these days.
I got something for you.
Technically, it was bear spray, which is even stronger
Yeah, that goes further, too.
stronger than pepper spray. This happened at a place called Jeff Dennis Jewelers near Birmingham, Alabama. She was there to rob the joint, but it didn't quite work out how she planned it, so she walks in wearing a hoodie and a mask, and like I said, she hollers, Happy Holidays! I don't want to hurt y'all, but I am, is what she said. And then she started bear spraying employees in their eye sockets. Thankfully, everyone turned out okay, but Heather isn't okay. The owner was there at the jewelry shop. He smooth pulled a gun and shot her in the shoulder.
It's kind of hilarious. Happy Holidays right back at you.
After being air-holed, Heather yelled, I don't want to die! And then she ran off.
But those people didn't want to get pepper sprayed either.
No, they didn't want to get pepper sprayed.
Bear sprayed.
She ran away after she got shot. Cops tracked her down a couple hours ago and took her to a hospital. She won't be having a happy holiday. At least I don't think this would be happy. She's going to be in jail.
Probably not the one she expected.
No.
At least.
It must suck to be her. I mean, she didn't want to have to hurt anybody.
That's not right. Here's a fun video for you that I would hope at this point is up and active on our website. The cop on the bicycle, Smashly?
Cop on the bicycle.
Oh, here we go.
Should be.
Yes, it is.
Oh. You should watch this one if you have a minute or two. A cop in the stupid United Kingdom. He commandeered a civilian's bicycle in order to chase down a scumbag. And the entire scene was caught on the cop's helmet cam. What do you call that thing that they...
Body cam.
Body cam.
Say I'm going to kill the bat!
That's the wrong clip. I had anticipated us.
Doesn't matter.
I thought maybe we'd go that way. I had it just in case. This one.
Borrow your bike. Let me borrow your bike. Thank you. I'm on a bike. I'm in pursuit. Ow! Got him detained. You're the bad now. Why? I ain't done anything. Yeah, I've rammed him off his bike. I'm going to get this back to its owner. I've just grabbed it off a member of the public. Mate, I caught him. Wouldn't have caught him without your help. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. All right. Cheers.
Couldn't make out a word. That's audio of the chase. It's really fun to watch. The deal went down last summer, and I think the reason it's being talked about now is that the bad guy was recently sentenced, and the local cop shop there decided to throw the video out on social media. This happened in a neighborhood over there called Northampton. Cops got a call about a dude named Sean Prosser. Somebody called the cops and said a dude named Sean Prosser was out on the streets dealing illegal drugs. The cop, Lewis Marks is the name he goes with, he showed up and chased Prosser. So the cop was in his car, Prosser was on a bicycle. Prosser, the bad guy, rode his bicycle into a busy park, which forced the cop to ditch his car and chase the douche on foot. The cop then spotted a civilian on a mountain bike and asked if he could borrow it. The citizen said no, but the cop took it anyway. I'm kidding. No, the citizen.
My bike now.
Yeah, said yes. The citizen said. So there goes the cop on a damn bicycle. He chases the drug dealer jag off through the park and onto the streets until he catches up with the guy, and then he tackles the bad guy and takes him down. They wrestled a little bit, but before too long, he had Prosser in handcuffs. Then the cop went all the way back and returned the bicycle to its owner. But by that time, the bicycle's owner was masturbating in the park, and he ran, and the cop gave chase on the... No, I'm kidding. The cop thanked the owner for the bicycle. You heard him in the audio. He must be originally from Canada or something, because he said to the bicycle owner, he said, "Mate, thank you, mate. I caught him. I wouldn't have caught him without your help." On the bicycle.
He kind of sounded like Ozzy Osbourne.
Definitely.
It's kind of where I was going with that. The bad guy, Prosser, had a big fat wad of cash on him. He had a cellular phone containing text messages related to drug deals. He also had something called a Kinder Egg candy toy that had heroin and crack rocks up in it.
Oh, why? You don't do that to the Kinder Eggs.
I don't know what it is to be a Kinder Egg candy toy.
Oh, my youngest loved those things.
Yeah, it's just
Used
like
to
a
love them.
chocolate egg that you bite into that has a toy on the inside, right?
Yep.
He pleaded guilty earlier this month. He was sentenced to 3 years in jail, this Prosser guy. He had an interesting look to him if you check out his mugshot, didn't he, Josh?
I agree. He kind of has a... I don't get what happened look on his face.
You know who I think he looks a lot like? He looks a lot like that singer Ed Sheeran.
Oh.
Like if Ed Sheeran ever gets deserted on an island for 6 to 8 months, he'd look exactly like the bad guy drug dealer from this year's story. Tell me what you think. Tell me.
I mean, he's got a red beard.
You got a red beard.
I know. It's not true at all.
Pretty heroic scene there, wasn't it, Josh?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You know, it's like the movies where they commandeer a vehicle.
Yeah.
Didn't know it happened that much in real life.
I like the scene from The Naked Gun where Lieutenant Frank Drebin commandeers a gal behind the wheel of, what do you call that scene again when you're learning to drive?
Driver's ed?
Yes, he commandeers a driver's ed vehicle. Do you know the scene I'm talking about? That's hilarious. Gets in the back with the teenage driver and the driving instructor up front. Go for it, Stephanie. All right, maybe that movie was 35 years ago and most of you don't care anymore. Maybe it was 35 years ago. Here's something most of us would never expect. A car thief with a conscience. The guilt over what they had done got the better of them. 9 times out of 10, if your car gets swiped, kiss that sumbitch goodbye. Odds are, if you do ever see your car again, it's all left up or it's stripped. You already know the stories about Dirty Mike and the boys.
Oh, that was gross.
They did some things in that car.
And what they'll do to your vehicle if they get a hold of it. It's called a soup kitchen. It's pretty rough stuff. In this story out of... Our listeners are texting now, quoting that scene from Naked Gun with the driver's ed. In this story out of New Zealand, a pickup thief had second thoughts. The thief returned the stolen pickup truck after he stole it. And when he returned it, he also wrote an apology note and put presents in the vehicle.
That's nice.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
I like gifts. Everybody likes getting a gift.
I'd be a little suspicious, but yeah, I mean, that is sweet.
I like getting an adventurous gift for me and my partner. What's that ad that we run? And an adventurous gift for the couple. I like that. Isn't there an ad we run where they say it's like a sex toy?
Adam and Eve?
There you go. This pickup had been parked outside a cafe. The owner, a dude by the name of Chada, he left the pickup running, keys in the ignition. Not the smartest move. He was running in and out of some stores or something, something along those lines. He left the pickup running with the keys in the ignition. Chada came back out the store, and she gone. 4 days after it was taken, the pickup was returned to where it got snatched from. The person who brought it back left an apology note. And here we go. In the apology note, the thief said that they were drunk. Sorry I stole your vehicle, but I was drunk and I needed a ride home.
Okay.
All right.
I bet his lawyer is just shaking his head. You just admitted to drunk driving.
This is fun.
Drunk and needed a ride home. Yeah, I've been there. You know what I usually did? Walked. The truck was not damaged at all, and the thief left some toys in the back seat for Chada, that's the vehicle owner, left some toys in the back seat for Chada's kid. Chada's got a kid. I don't know how the derelict thief knew that information, but I'll just...
Oh, yeah, that's kind of creepy.
I'll go with it.
A child seat in the back.
Oh, yeah, duh.
Baby on board sticker.
I see those more and more now.
Yeah, I do too, actually. I was just thinking that the other day.
They went away for a while.
So there you go. Local police are still investigating this deal, even though the truck was returned. So it ain't over yet. What would you do if you were Chada? Would you let it go? Or would you want this guy punished?
I think I'd let it go, yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably let it go.
I think I'd be happy I got some gifts out of the deal.
I'm throwing the book at him. Let's make this guy's life miserable. You don't steal somebody's car.
Well, you shouldn't. You're right.
And you know what else you don't do? You don't mow another guy's lawn.
Oh, I've heard that before.
What movie? Kingpin. How about a little stupid news update? A little callback to a story that we've covered afore. Oh, Christ. Do you remember the dork down in Florida that was driving around town in his oh-so-hilarious booty patrol mobile?
Sure do.
Yes.
If you don't know the story of the booty patrol dude, he's an 18, 19-year-old kid. He thinks he's cute. He cruises around town down there in Florida in his pickup. It's decked out with lights and decals that almost perfectly resemble a U.S. Customs and Border Patrol vehicle. It's a social media thing. The kid's trying to be noticed, whatever. At first, when we talked about this booty patrol dude, it sounded like the local cops weren't too worried about the guy. But the latest word is that the booty patrol captain is up against some pretty serious charges. Booty patrol kid is now being charged with fraud impersonation. That's fraud.
You just saved a couple of texts, I think.
Yeah, you did.
Impersonation / unlawful use of a police badge and obstructing police / unlawful use of blue lights. And now he's got to go to court. So I guess the cops are done playing games with this kid. You can't be running around town acting like law enforcement.
No.
And you know what? It's time for a new bit anyway. I would imagine the folks in this neighborhood are like, oh, there it is again. Ha ha, very funny, the booty patrol. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, true.
Time for a new bit.
I saw Bikini Patrol on the side of a pontoon once.
Hit the reset here button. Hit the reset button here, kid, and come up with something else. All right, before we go, it's been a while since we covered an OnlyFans model here in the Stupid News. I got pretty burned out on the gimmick. I never thought I'd be burned out on talking about naked gals on the internet, but it got so friggin' over the top. These OnlyFans gals were either just straight up bragging about how rich they are, or they were doing something repulsive for money, like farting in jars or whatever. I couldn't do it anymore. So I got burned out. It's been a while. What I got here for you now is an OnlyFans model who's making a few bucks by going over to her fans' houses and decorating their Christmas trees topless.
Oh, wow. That's a nice service.
I am here to decorate for Jesus' birthday. Where should I put my bra?
Oh, man. She calls herself Sincerest Sammy. Apparently, she used to operate a topless maid service. I never called them up.
Yeah, those are popular for a little bit there.
A buddy of mine called them up. They were legit.
Well, were they legit cleaners, though? I mean...
Yeah.
I realize that's probably secondary for what you're looking for, but does your house get clean?
Yeah. According to Sincerest Sammy, this is cute. She only expected a couple of people to be interested in her idea because she was under the impression the majority of her fans have already put their Christmas trees up. Well, yeah, they probably did already have their trees up, but when you announced that you'd come over and do it topless, they knocked the damn thing back down again.
Just chop it down.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to call her, but the tree's already up, so... Yeah, they knocked the damn thing down onto the ground and you could start over again. $300 an hour? Whoa. That's what she wants in trade. For her to come over, take her top off, can swinging, and decorate your Christmas tree.
It took me about an hour and a half to do my 7-foot tree.
Josh, can you do that kind of math?
For an hour and a half?
Yeah.
What would that be, $450? Mm-hmm.
Scumbag should know she brings a security guard with her, so don't try to get fresh.
Smart. I don't know. If they have like a legitimate tree, a real one, that sap getting all over your skin, your body, this is dangerous.
That might be part of it for some people.
Dangerous is the word you use to tree sap on human skin? I don't know.
hate that feeling so much.
Sounds kind of dramatic to me. Yeah, I'll tell you what, Josh. One of my buddies called the Topless Maids. Just like 15 years ago. And he said, yeah, they came over and they cleaned and they were topless. But he said he's happy he gave it a rip, he always wanted to see what it would be like. But he said what kind of ruined it for him is both of the topless maids who were cleaning up his house, he said, by damn did they look unhappy.
Oh yeah, that would ruin it.
Yeah, you need service with a smile.
Dang it.
It was like, ding dong, and he answers the door and they just, topless maids.
Hi, we hate our lives.
Yeah. Oh, hey, how are you? The topless maids. Yeah, well, where would you like us to start?
No.
Yeah, taking your clothes off, perhaps?
Right here in the living room. He said they just looked so unhappy. He kept trying to cheer him up like, it's pretty nice outside today, huh? Yeah, it's pretty. How about those twins? And they just...
Boss Lady Sheezes hopes that there's Band-Aids for this topless decorator because the thought of pine needles on bare boobs sounds unbearable, she said.
Jesus.
Oh, I didn't think about that. You ever taken a pine needle to the nipple, anybody?
No. Ooh, but I bet that wouldn't feel very good.
A pine needle to the nipple.
No, thank you.
Let's go cut down our own tree next year, Josh, and both of us will be shirtless. I guess like acupuncture.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Four-man rush. Dobbs will throw over the middle. Jefferson up to get it. Gets hit hard by Marcus Epps.
He remains questionable with a chest injury.
Yeah, not the news you want to hear if you're a Vikings fan. Laura, thanks very much.
Justin Jefferson sustained, kind of a internal chest injury there. We wanted to rule out any potential complications from that. So he did go to a local hospital and get evaluated.
Josh, were you pretty exhausted earlier putting together all the audio highlights from yesterday's ballgame?
You know what? It was kind of difficult just trying to find a few things. But there was a highlight I look forward to playing during Shaver, for sure.
What's that now?
Our guy Depot. He had a standout play.
He did?
On yesterday's game, yeah.
I missed it. What a hell of a ball game the Vikings and Raiders put together yesterday, huh?
That was the most boring game I've ever seen in my entire life.
I love bad football, but these two ball clubs, they overdid it, didn't they?
So bad.
I have a question for you. Who won?
The Vikings won.
The Vikings won?
Yes.
The fans won, Nick. Yeah. The fans won.
Is it even really right to name a winner from that? Why even?
I'd say so because it would feel so much worse if we lost.
Everybody tried their best and had fun.
There was a part of me that was hoping they'd go to overtime 0-0.
Yeah, totally. That would have been fantastic.
I think it was the fourth quarter, and I was like, all right, I'll be fine with 0-0.
I don't know if I heard the announcers correct, but I believe they said that would have been like the first time that's happened.
Since 1943.
Oh, okay.
Everybody at the bar was rooting for a 0-0 tie. Everybody, the crowd was disappointed when the field goal was, whatever you call it, made.
So many Vikings fans travel all the way down there for that.
Yeah.
You know, they had mentioned that during the broadcast a couple times, showing all the Vikings, you know, saying how listen for the Skol chant. You can hear the Skol chant. There's so many of them there. Well, you know, at least you're in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
You know, at least they're not in a boring town. They can leave the game and go have fun.
We were all rooting for a 0-0 tie at the bar, but then the dude had to kick the field goal. So I guess, yeah, the Vikings get the victory. I don't think they should have handed out a victory. I've had more fun at recent visits to the friggin' dentist's office. What a garbage ball game. We'll talk with Randy and Brad about that. Randy Shaver, Brad Ryder will be joining us in a half hour. The Wolves are in New Orleans tonight. What the hell is this? The Pigs got a win last night, 3-0. We'll get into all this stuff when the time comes. Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder. Stick around. Josh's News is next.
Half-assed morning show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Grace here, customer service rep at Standard Heating. I'm proud to work for a company that understands and takes care of our fellow Minnesotans. Our weather here can be a little unpredictable and even extreme. That's why we've been here for 93 years and counting, to keep our community safe and comfortable.
On behalf of myself and Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, we would like to wish you a very happy holidays. And don't forget, Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is open 24/7 for emergency services to make sure you stay warm this holiday season. Go to standardheating.com today.
Stacking Benjamins with Joe and his good friend OG not only has great financial insight, it's laid back with humor too.
Joe talks with Stacking Deeds co-host Crystal Hammond.
I've always been a fan of nosy neighbors. I want nosy neighbors. They can tell you what's going on 10 times faster than you would know.
Again, what's she talking about, Doug?
Really?
We're repairing neighborhoods, but then we're into nosy neighbors, and I built a career off of that.
Find out more by searching the Stacking Benjamins podcast, wherever you listen.
Half-assed morning show. 93X.
He's always had a smile on his face, and we're not going to be able to see that anymore.
I was stunned. I mean, I came out here and I just bawled. I just cried, and I do it. I feel the loss, and I keep looking like I keep expecting to see him.
This is a terribly tragic story making national headlines, and unfortunately it happened here in Minnesota. As a warning, the details are disturbing. A beloved Minneapolis store clerk was killed Friday after someone impaled him with a golf club. Police responded to reports of a stabbing about 1 p.m. and found the 66-year-old victim impaled through his torso behind the counter at Oak Grove Grocery, a small neighborhood store in a residential area near downtown. First responders attempted medical aid at the scene before transporting him to Hennepin County Medical Center, but a release stated he died at the hospital despite efforts to save his life. Minneapolis police said the suspect had brought some of the store's items to the counter and then started to, quote, assault and bludgeon the individual behind the counter in a very grotesque way.
He did have an issue with him before that, trying to steal groceries or whatever.
They had some words before.
I'm void right now. I don't have any feeling inside. This was a special person.
Officers arrested the suspect, a 44-year-old man, after receiving information from a witness which helped track him to a nearby apartment unit where he barricaded himself in. It took nearly 6 hours for negotiators, a SWAT team, a drone unit, and a bomb squad to arrest him. A neighbor and frequent visitor to the grocery store said the victim was loved by everyone who knew him, and the neighborhood is heartbroken.
He was a world-class human being. Honest, good, fair to everybody.
He was just such a good guy.
I'm shocked right now. I'm devastated. Hard to even believe it.
A memorial adorned with candles, flowers, and photos was set up outside the grocery store on Friday. Homicide investigators are investigating what happened leading up to that stabbing.
That's awful.
Yeah. It's terrible. Newly released surveillance video shows dozens of students and bystanders rushing to help a Utah mother and her 2 young children after they were struck and pinned under a car last week.
Got a 2-year-old at home. You know, you pull out this kid that's the same age as your child that you know is just in daycare down the street. That's immediately where your mind goes as a parent, right? You hear it all the time, super mom, super abilities. And in that moment, that's what it was.
Last Tuesday, just before 4 p.m. in the parking lot of the Layton Christian Academy, Bridget Ponson, who works at the school, was walking with her 2-year-old son and 3-year-old daughter when a driver hit them, pinning them under the car. Several students and bystanders immediately rushed to lift the vehicle and free the family.
People were in shock and asking me to come help, so I rushed over. Once we figured out what was going on, we just got together, lifted the car.
Investigators said the driver was allegedly driving slowly through the parking lot at the time of the collision, and they said the sun in her eyes may have been a factor.
Another car came in the parking lot and was blinded by the sun, did not even see them, and ran over the entire family, all three of them. The doctor said this is a miracle. The 2-year-old had tire tracks across his back.
Jesus.
And the doctor said we can't find anything wrong with him, even internally.
Yes, as the man suggested there, amazingly, they are all expected to be okay.
F me running.
I think we posted that video last week.
There's a video of them getting run over?
Yeah.
Oh, holy smokes.
An 11-year-old Florida boy was arrested for making a hoax 911 call about a school shooter because he wanted to go home early. The Marion County Sheriff's Office said it received a call Tuesday about 9:39 a.m. reporting an active shooter at Horizon Academy.
911, what's the address of the emergency? Help, there's a school shooter walking through the hallway. What school? Marion Oaks. What hallway are you in? Building 2. Marion Oaks Elementary or Marion Oaks High School? Huh? Hello, can you hear me? Which school? Marion Oaks Elementary?
Following a search, authorities determined there were not any armed assailants, no weapons, no injured students, no injured staff, the sheriff's office
That's
said.
one funny kid right there, huh?
He's in some serious trouble.
That's great.
Yeah, well, what happened to getting out of school by suggesting there's diarrhea just decimating your beehole? That'll get you out. You have to do something like this.
That is one smart and funny kid.
Nobody ever questions you if you say you have diarrhea.
The student put fear into his fellow students, staff, and parents, Sheriff Billy Wood said in a statement. For what? A prank? Because you wanted to go home? I will not tolerate my young citizens being fearful of going to school because you wanted to be a jokester in hopes of going home, Wood said. The school was placed on lockdown. Marion County Sheriff's deputies, detectives, SWAT, aviation, and canines responded. Officers from nearby police departments, the Florida Highway Patrol, and other state and federal law enforcement agencies did as well. A complete search of the school was conducted, which concluded there wasn't any armed assailants, weapons, or injured students or staff. Authorities said the boy had told a friend that he wanted to go home early, and when the friend walked away and left his cell phone unattended, the 11-year-old used it to call 911.
It is devastating to the families that are finding out that there's a school shooter, to the children thinking there's a school shooter, to the staff thinking there's a school shooter, when in reality, there was nothing going on other than an 11-year-old making a hoax phone call.
He was arrested and is now facing felony charges for his boneheaded prank.
Absolutely insane. Can you guys even imagine how your folks would have reacted to something like that?
Oh, no.
I was trying to think how I'd react if one of my kids did something.
I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't. At 11 years old, I'd no longer have a place to live if I would have done that when I was a kid. I would no longer have a place to live. That's just all there would be to it.
In an ironic twist in the world of behavioral science, a Harvard professor who studies honesty has been accused of data fraud.
Oh, God.
Over the last few weeks, allegations have surfaced against Francesca Gino, a prominent Harvard Business School professor who's been accused of falsifying results in several behavioral science studies on honesty.
Nice one, man.
Outstanding.
A 72-year-old man in Oregon will spend more than a decade behind bars for rigging his home with a series of booby traps inspired by the Indiana Jones movie franchise.
Sweet.
You may remember we talked about this story when it happened, but there's a follow-up here. The booby traps were designed to injure or kill law enforcement.
Oh, my God.
Including a hot tub set to roll down a hill like the infamous boulder from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
What is wrong with this guy?
September 7th, 2018, bomb technicians from the Oregon State Patrol and the FBI responded to the property after Gregory Rodvelt was charged with unlawful possession of explosives. Upon arrival, the bomb technicians encountered a minivan obstructing the gate. Investigators said they found steel animal traps attached to the gate post and underneath the minivan's hood. Additionally, homemade spike strips were discovered, which Rodvelt's own attorney had unintentionally driven over in the past. As the technician neared the residence, they observed a large round hot tub which had been placed on its side. Authorities said the hot tub was rigged in such a manner that when the gate was opened, it would activate a mechanical trigger, which would then cause the spa to roll toward the person at the gate, much like a scene from Indiana Jones. Inside the garage, a rat trap had been modified to accommodate a shotgun shell that was connected to a main garage door and designed to activate when the door was opened. In the center of the front entryway, they encountered a wheelchair, which, when inadvertently moved by one of the agents, triggered a homemade shotgun device. The device discharged, striking one of the FBI bomb technicians below the knee. Rodvelt was sentenced to 12 and a half years in a federal correctional facility.
This guy's like perpetually 9 years old.
Talented dude using it for evil. Police say 4 residents of a Massachusetts apartment were narrowly missed by gunfire from an AK-47 style rifle, and the man who fired the weapon had an unusual excuse for his actions. The gunman told police his dog told him to open fire.
Oh.
Police were called about 5:20 p.m. Thursday by residents because their neighbor in the 2-family home was firing a gun. When police arrived, they heard gunshots coming from inside one of the apartments. Once officers began moving along the front of the building, 29-year-old Joshua Martinelli was seen walking inside the apartment with his hands up before they placed him under arrest. When asked why he was shooting, he told police his neighbors were trying to poison his dog. He then told investigators his dog had told him to shoot the neighbors as revenge for trying to poison him. Martinelli's dog was present when he began shooting.
Little Son of Sam callback there, huh, Cubby?
Yeah, it's possible he did tell him. I mean, they said the dog was right there. I can imagine being pissed if someone tried to poison me. From the Midland County, Texas police blotter, 8:52 p.m. last Wednesday, a passerby reported a verbal argument between a woman and an unknown person in a vehicle at a business. When police arrived, it was discovered the woman's dog had locked her out of the vehicle, and she was yelling at the dog for doing so. Deputies contacted a company to help the woman unlock the door.
I love when that happens. That's great, just hollering at the dog. Dog's thinking, what are you saying? I don't follow what you're saying.
I can't even hear you. Can you open the door?
Yeah. My dog locked himself in a car once. That was a panic deal because it was about 104 degrees out.
Oh, no.
I thought he was a goner. He made it.
A Michigan man and a woman are each facing charges after they got into a physical fight, which led to the man shooting himself in the foot.
Oh.
About 11:23 a.m. Tuesday, Battle Creek police responded to a home after police reported hearing gunshots in the area. At the same time, dispatchers learned a man with a gunshot wound was headed to the hospital. Police spoke to a couple at the hospital where they determined the two had gotten into a fight. The man had a gun in his waistband, which came loose during the scuffle. When he tried to secure it again, it fired, shooting him in the foot. The couple separated but met up again, and the woman took the man to the hospital. Both the man and woman are facing various charges.
Boy, that sucks.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. 2 off-duty police officers in Vermont were caught speeding and driving recklessly on motorcycles. A sheriff's deputy clocked the men going upwards of 100 miles per hour in a 35.
Oh, what the?
The deputy chased the group as they raced past other vehicles, finally caught up with 2 of the bikers. 31-year-old Jeffrey Bauer and 25-year-old Joshua Porter were caught after about 2 miles when they reached their destination. The third rider, 30-year-old Brady McGee, crashed into a ditch about a mile away. He was the most embarrassed of the trio. The Franklin County State's attorney said regardless if they were police officers or not, we're going to treat them like anyone else who comes into our system with these charges. On Tuesday, the Burlington Police Department confirmed McGee and Bauer are members of the department and are currently on administrative assignment.
Brady McGee just sounds like a made-up name.
I know it does.
100%.
What's your name? Brady. What's your last name? McGee.
130.
Yeah, smart.
You guys are cool.
A Florida man was arrested for shining a laser at a Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office helicopter last week. He's 56 years old.
Oh, no.
William Lee shined a bright green laser several times about 4:24 a.m. Wednesday while deputies were doing surveillance.
We're getting shined by a laser south of 60 near Briarwood, Beverly area. We're trying to pinpoint it. If we can get some units coming over that way and get an open channel.
Police said it was the second arrest in the last 2 weeks for adult males shining lasers at them. Shining a laser at a pilot or aircraft is extremely dangerous and illegal, Sheriff Chad Chronister said. Pointing a laser can distract or temporarily blind the pilot. This irresponsible behavior posed an imminent threat to the safety of our pilot and tactical flight deputy, said the sheriff. Last year, there were 9,457 reported laser strikes to the FAA.
That is outrageous.
And
stop it.
You mentioned that a great majority of them are grown folks.
Yeah, a lot of them are like middle-aged guys. It's weird.
I remember being 13 and being infatuated with a laser pointer for about 6 minutes and then just moving on with my life. I can't imagine the grown folks still doing that.
This is what happens when you live with when you're a grown person, you live with your grandmother, and somehow you don't have the privacy anymore to masturbate. This is what you do. This is what they turn to. I live with my grandmother. I'm grown. She's around me so much I can't masturbate. They turn to lasering airplanes.
An airport worker was fired when a passenger discovered an obscene message written on his 7-month-old son's suitcase. Mario Lucas expressed his frustration after making a complaint to Ryanair about a message which read, "C-word, stop checking in late," on the front of his child's suitcase. After visiting family in the UK, Lucas's family checked in for their flight 90 minutes before boarding. But upon returning to Cyprus, Lucas noted the message on his little boy's suitcase while waiting at baggage claim. "I'm annoyed as it was a brand new suitcase. We just bought it," Lucas said. After speaking with Ryanair, the airline's contractor made a statement condemning the act by saying it was unacceptable, and the person behind that obscene message was fired. A fake blood-covered knife was discovered by the TSA at a Pennsylvania airport Thursday morning. You can't make up the crazy stuff that travelers have brought into the security checkpoint recently. Here's what I mean. A fake blood-covered knife. Like, really, dude? Come on, a spokesperson said. The agency said the incident comes as the TSA is gearing up for the busy holiday travel season in the coming weeks. There's 2 Monday Night Football matchups tonight. The Giants host the Packers, and then the Dolphins host the Titans. High-flying masked WWE luchador Rey Mysterio Jr., 49.
Booyaka, booyaka, 619.
I can't believe that man is only 49 years old.
Yeah, he's been doing it for a long time.
Motley Crue's Nikki Sixx, 65. Hennepin County Plow Freak Jesus texted in a shout-out for his father-in-law. He's having a rough health spell here. He's in the ICU with some health issues. He said, "Pull through, Grandpa B. You got this." And, of course, we all send our best and hope for a quick recovery for Grandpa B as well. Happy birthday to old man Bob Jesus, and that's 93X News.
KARE 11's Randy Shaver.
If you see him, do not approach him. He is considered extremely dangerous. His depravity knows no bounds. I mean, this is someone who has nothing to lose, so I don't know what he's capable of doing.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Stops a throw over the middle. Jefferson up to get it. Gets hit hard by Marcus Epps.
He remains questionable with a chest injury.
Yeah, not the news you want to hear if you're a Vikings fan. Well, thanks very much, Greg Joseph, trying to get the Vikings on the board with a 49-yard field goal, and it is no good.
Well, if you're just joining us late, here's what you've missed. A punt, a punt, a punt, a punt, a punt, a missed field goal, a punt, then a punt. Then we reached the end of the half, and then the second half started with a punt.
And some calisthenics.
Calisthenics as well. American Punters Association, APA, very excited about what's happening.
Thrilled.
Carter trying to be the one who breaks something free, has some room on the sidelines, dancing out of bounds. It was the long snapper, Andrew DePaula, who got him after the 31-yard return.
Dead ball, personal foul, kicking team number 42.
That's the long snapper who was called for the penalty.
It was on the sideline.
The oldest Viking player, still scoreless in Las Vegas.
2nd and 19. The toss out to Renfro. Renfro fumbles the football, bouncing around on the turf, and the Vikings recover. And the Raiders are turned away on the turnover. We talked about this with Kevin O'Connell, and he said, if I have to make a change, I'm going to make the change while the game is still winnable. Yep. The game is very winnable, and he's going to Nick Mullins. The snap is down. The kick by Joseph is right down the middle. And we have points in Las Vegas. O'Connell to the it's intercepted. Ivan Pace Jr. with the diving kick. 1:52 to go, and that may have sealed it for the Vikings.
Boring.
Our next guests, I'm sure, are dying to talk about yesterday's Vikings-Raiders game. I know so because I received a series of text messages yesterday during the ball game sent by these two fellas, and they seem to really be enjoying themselves. Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder. Hello, boys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You guys are having a good time watching the game yesterday, huh?
Yeah, I think Brad started that text chain, and then Randy had some fun things to say as well.
Yeah, yesterday's game was dedicated to all you fans who hate on Kirk Cousins. You like that? You like that game?
Like that.
Huh? That was for you. You missed them yet?
Also for fans of both Wild hockey and the Vikings, you got the same score in both games, so be happy.
And that's something. This is how the website Yardbarker put it. They said the Vikings beat the Raiders in one of the worst NFL games in years.
I tell you what, though, I'd rather be on the winning end of one of those than the losing end.
Well, of course, but it's tough to hand a W to either club, you know. The important thing they said in this article from Yardbarker, the important thing for football fans is that the game is over now and can no longer hurt your eyes. A showcase of incompetent offenses, they said.
Yeah. A bunch of injuries and offense, yeah.
I missed this. DePaula got involved in some kind of a scrap?
Well,
little
he was
bit.
protecting his player.
Yeah, it was kind of a weak call.
I missed it.
One of the Raiders, when they were out of bounds, you know how that stuff happens when you're out of bounds, was got in the punter's face because both the punter and Andrew had to kind of contribute to the tackle, and then Andrew went over and got in the guy's face who got in the punter's face, and he was the one who got flagged.
Well, that's how the veterans do it. You know, you get into the dust-ups and straighten some folks out. He's been there before. I know we talked about this last week, but isn't it just friggin' bizarre, this Dobbs story?
Yeah. It's weird.
It seemed like, it was just basically yesterday that folks were straight up playing with themselves here in town.
Not all of us were, but yeah.
And we kept saying, you know, there's a reason why this guy is bounced around the league.
Yeah.
It was just a matter of time before you saw. And again, I was laughing at myself yesterday. I'm sitting on the couch going, I think it was always better when he didn't know what the hell was going on.
Right. Totally agree.
Right.
Yes.
He just seemed to be better at just improvising. The more he knows, the worse it got. It just, yeah.
I'm sure he's a great guy, but he should not see the field again this year unless we're out of quarterback. He really shouldn't.
No,
he's not going to be back next year,
right,
okay? I mean,
right.
let's be real.
Yeah.
He's not going to be back here next year.
Nobody's mad
some
at you,
people
Brad.
thought he was the answer.
Right.
Some people thought he was going to be the replacement.
That's what was so funny about this whole thing.
Right. There were some people who just went bananas over this deal. Brad, there were folks at the beer hall yesterday that said the exact same thing that you just said. They said, forget it with Dobbs.
Yeah.
He's not going to be here next year. Let's give a look to these other guys, Mullins and whoever the hell else is on the... I don't even know who else.
I just hate to keep piling on, but Justin Jefferson's injury yesterday was 100% his fault, too. I mean, he was an open receiver, and he threw
in a terrible spot.
Yeah.
And he got smoked.
Yeah.
Those throws always make you so nervous.
But, I mean, really, between this Dobbs story and the Wolves suddenly being this juggernaut and the situation with the spray tan man and the new coach with the pigs, and I know the pigs have dummied down a little bit since their hot streak, but there have been just some out-of-nowhere weirdo situations this year.
The last couple
you can throw the Gophers in there with the loss to the backup quarterback in 3 plays.
And blowing the 21-point lead at Northwestern. And
it's just been crazy.
Randy, you're referencing with the Illinois game?
Yeah.
The Illinois game where the kid came off the bench in the last 2 minutes and beat them. Hadn't played it down in like all year.
As bad, as yesterday was, if you have a healthy starting quarterback, this team is on an 8-game winning streak. They're 9-4, and your defense is a lot better than last year, and you're probably winning the division. And I mean, that just shows you how important that guy is who went down. I mean, he is so important to this team.
I never liked the guy. 2 pumps and a squeeze. Jesus texted in and said, here's the deal. Here's how the Vikings win out. Well, at least win on their next game Saturday against the Cincinnati Bengals. Create a new offense for Dobbs and don't tell him jack squat until right before game time. Create a whole new offensive scheme and just tell him about 30 seconds before game time. I mean, it's just, there have been just some really bizarre stories, and this is one of them. So 3-0 was the final, 3-0.
Well, you can almost guarantee that Nick Mullins is going to start on Saturday. I don't think there's any question.
I'll go with it, Randy Shaver.
No question about it.
Andrew DePaula and Greg Joseph, the heroes of yesterday, and whoever the holder is, they were the heroes in yesterday's ball game. It was the first 3-0 game since 2000+7. It was only the 7th 3-0 ball game in the Super Bowl era. Had they finished 0-0 at the end of regulation, that would have been the first time since 1943 that a game ended 0-0.
I was pulling for a 0-0 tie at the end of the overtime.
We were talking about
everybody at the bar was upset when that field goal went through. Where everybody wanted a nothing.
When you get to that point in the game, you might as well go for the record, right?
Exactly. What a gong show. I said earlier, I love bad football, but these two clubs took it a little too far.
Well, again, I'll reiterate, I'd rather be on the winning end of something like that than the losing end.
Sure,
so for the Vikings,
yes.
I mean, for the Vikings, this was a huge win. This puts them squarely in the wild card playoff position. The NFC is not like the AFC. It's only got X number of teams that are better than 500. And so the Vikings find themselves in a pretty good spot. All they've got to do now is just find a way to finish, but they do have some teams coming up, Detroit twice, Cincinnati, teams that are battling for position, whether it's playoff position or, Cincinnati trying to make it without, Joe Burrow. But then Browning went down yesterday, so they're in trouble. So the Vikings are, they're squarely in the mix. It's kind of like a little bit like last year, and only in the sense that they could make the playoffs, but then the outlook for the playoffs isn't very good, right?
Well, that was kind of my point. That was kind of my point that if and again, this is all ifs and buts and candy and nuts, but if they had their quarterback, I think the chances that they would advance in the playoffs and possibly win a couple of games would be better than last year because their defense is playing phenomenal.
Yeah, give the defense credit for yesterday. They shut a club out.
But now when you look at everything and you watch teams, like Dallas and Philly last night, and you look at San Francisco and you go, there's no way.
No.
I mean, there's no way. That
season ended today, they would go to Detroit for the first playoff game.
Hey, that'd be fun. So here's the deal. Yeah, give the defense some credit. One more little almost, I guess, historical stat. The game, as you know, was scoreless going into the fourth quarter. The only other Vikings game ever to be 0-0 going into the fourth quarter was a game in 1971. That was the year I was born. So many injuries. Madison, what's his name? The receiver Jefferson, Brian O'Neill, this guy, that guy. Everybody's injured now.
Right.
Yep.
And they're at Cincinnati on Saturday.
Josh, so it's a short week.
Josh, can you pull up your computer machine and pull up a picture of Vikings quarterback Nick Mullins? Somebody, I don't know what he looks like. Somebody texted in and said he looks like George Foreman.
Oh,
I want to see
George Foreman.
George Foreman.
Let's see if I can get a good.
Okay. Yeah, they do have a similar. They have similar eyes. I'll go with that. If he shaved his head, if he shaved Nick Mullins, they have similar eyes and a similar smile. That's really well done, dude, that texted in. You got to look real close for that, but I think he's onto something. What else is going on? I'm so burned out on the, hey, everybody, we created a turnover. Let's rush into the end zone and do it.
Oh, my God.
I'm so friggin' sick of that crap.
I actually, it's funny you say that because when they did the stand the guy up on the whatever they were doing.
The keg stand.
I just stood up and I went, what in the world is going on? It's just ridiculous.
Like any bit, it's burned itself out.
It's so
weeks ago.
Remember about 5 years ago when the NFL actually tried to flag teams for celebration penalties? I think they've just gone the other direction now. They've gone the other direction and they don't care. Yeah.
The keg stand was kind of cute. I'll give them credit. But the bit is so burned out now. I'm so tired of seeing them.
The internet seemed to love it.
Yeah. The internet are idiots.
Only in America, Jesus did think it was a little odd considering the other news out of the Vikings over the weekend with their offensive coordinator.
Oh, yeah, that's a bad choice.
I didn't even think of that at the time.
They probably didn't either.
The Vikings offensive coordinator was arrested for DWI on Friday
Wes
night.
immediately informed the team and everybody that he's required to inform. I was incredibly disappointed. There's no question. It's very important that as coaches we understand kind of we're setting the bar for our organization and our players. And Wes knows he fell short of that. It was something we were all very disappointed in.
It's the last person I want to be disappointed in me.
Well,
you love.
Yeah.
Wes Phillips is the guy's name. He's the son of Wade Phillips and the grandson of the legendary Bum Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
He got pinched on 394. He blew a .10 according to the damn news.
Yeah.
So he's headed to court. That sucks.
Yeah.
So there you go. Next ball game at Cincinnati. What are you laughing about?
Saturday, that triple. We're getting into that time of year where the football is like going to be everywhere because
There's no college football, so the NFL takes over on Saturday now,
crazy
too.
schedule. So yeah.
What the hell? I was watching just a little bit of some other NFL games yesterday. God, that was fun watching Patrick Mahomes wet his pants.
And you know what? That was the right call.
Yes,
the guy is offside.
Yeah, it was.
I can't believe the news conference where Andy Reid and Mahomes are like, the NFL should be embarrassed. What?
Nope,
The
they're
guy's
wrong.
offside.
They're wrong.
Just
No.
shows how they've been getting so
wrong.
many calls for so many years that they just expect it. Like, how dare you throw a flag against
You
us?
know what? You're right. That's being entitled right there.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Mahomes made a fool out of himself. Now, I've lost my cool many times in my life. I'm not ready to bury the kid for that. But, I mean, he did make a fool out of himself. And I read an article this morning that said, it is kind of an unspoken rule amongst NFL officials that you don't get too nitpicky with something like a wide receiver lined up just a hair beyond the football. But that dude was across that was not nitpicky. That was obviously he was lined up far offsides, so Reid and Mahomes should shut up.
And you see those guys
Andy
check.
never checked in with the official to make sure.
Yeah, you see those guys check almost every play.
You're right.
And if the officials think he's offside, they tell him to move back.
Right.
That's right.
Don't get me wrong. That was a cute play. It was a cute play they pulled off. But sorry, the dude was lined up far too offside to let it go.
I mean, if you're that receiver on that play and you know that play's coming and you think it's going to work and you have nothing to do with, he really had nothing to do with that play. You make sure you're about 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage so that doesn't happen.
I'm telling you what. I mean, that referee who was getting an earful from Mahomes, I don't know how he didn't turn around and just start choking that dude.
Yeah.
I give that ref all the credit in the world. We've discussed many times the verbal beating that referees get in some sports. I don't know how that guy didn't turn around and say, all right, dude, let's go.
Right.
Some good news for the second consecutive season. The NFL playoffs will not feature the New England Patriots. I think we all saw the writing on the wall way before this, but the Patriots were mathematically eliminated from the playoffs yesterday.
You love to see it.
Zach Wilson went ahead and had a great game. The MILF.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Went ahead and had a great game.
Reason to celebrate.
That game was also nothing at the end of the first half. New York Jets and the Houston. But then
I think they said it's the first time in a long time that two NFL games went to halftime in the same day at 0-0.
I think the year was 1998, Randy Shaver.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, Milfman, 301 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, Christ, how about this? Speaking of quarterbacks, a few weeks ago, Joe F. Me running Flacco was laid out on his couch eating pizza rolls.
Yeah.
Cleveland Browns call him up, and he's right back to being awesome.
He looks halfway decent.
Awesome is the word, Brad Ryder.
Yeah.
Why didn't the Vikings give him a call?
I was going to say I'd take him.
Because of that O'Connor guy that you guys think he's so cute.
He is pretty cute.
He don't know what he's doing. They call Flacco up. Oh, he's, what do you throw? 311 yards, 3 touchdowns. Yeah, the guy's 57 years old.
Because we thought Josh Jobs was better.
Right. And yesterday,
and he does it for a football team who arguably does not have very good weapons offensively from the receiver position. I mean, That's pretty impressive, actually, for Joe Flacco. 2 games into being called off the couch to be leading this, and the Browns have a great defense. They've got a great base of talent, but that's pretty impressive to do what he did yesterday.
Here's the deal. Yeah, O'Connor, I'm with you guys. O'Connor should have called Flacco. He won his 100th ball game yesterday in that win over the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's only the 19th quarterback in the history now to win 100 ball games. And the head coach over there, Steffi Kavansky. What the heck is his name again?
Steffi Kavansky.
I'm close.
Kevin
Kavansky. He named Flacco the starter for the rest of the regular season. And he calls his wife and says, yeah, I guess put the pizza rolls back in the freezer.
I would so much rather have pizza rolls than play quarterback in the NFL.
Me too. Hell yes.
Living at the Cleveland Marriott the rest of the season.
Oh yeah, you're right, too. It sucks.
I used to just inhale pizza rolls, man. I was hooked on that stuff.
And you can never wait for them to cool either. It didn't matter.
No.
It didn't matter that your roof of your mouth is going to be lit on fire. You needed those things as fast as possible.
I'm actually pretty damn good at letting pizza products cool.
Are you?
I'm one of the best in the business. I can be patient.
That's a very respectful talent. I do not have that.
Covey knows I can be patient with pizza related products. More quarterback stuff. Even former Super Bowl MVP Footlong Foles likes to play pickleball.
And apparently he's really good at it.
He hasn't played for anybody this year, has he, Footlong Foles?
No.
He recently went, I don't know what this means exactly, but he went ahead and won a gold medal at a California pickleball tournament. He played mixed doubles and men's doubles, and he won the whole schmear in both division. He partnered in the mixed doubles. He partnered with his allegedly very satisfied wife.
Are you referring to his nickname?
Yeah. And in the regular men's doubles, he partnered up with his friend, some guy by the name of Jim Davenport. That sounds like a pickleball player. Right?
Yeah, it really does.
Well, what event was this that he won a gold medal in?
California, they called it the PPA Finals in San Clemente, California. I don't know what any of this means, Randy.
Okay.
Foles wasn't the only former NFL player competing. Not that this name will thrill anybody, but former wide receiver Golden Tate also competed in the...
What was that last name?
I think it's Tate.
Tate. Golden Tate.
Settle down.
I agree, Randy. Don't straighten me out. I know what the guy's name is. Settle down, you guys. And then there's some really bad news connected to football. Frank Wycheck.
Yeah. Music City Bowl.
The Music City Miracle? Is that what you said, Randy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the Tennessee, kind of mindful of what the Chiefs tried to pull off yesterday.
Yeah. This guy was a real solid tight end for a lot of years.
Yes, he was.
He died yesterday at only 52 years old.
Christie kicks it high and short. Going to be fielded by Lorenzo Neal at the 25. Pitches it back to Wycheck. He throws it across the field to Dyson.
He's got something.
30,
He's got
40,
something.
50.
He's got it.
40,
He's got it.
20, 10.
He's got it.
End zone. Touchdown Titans. There are no flags on the field. It's a miracle. Tennessee has pulled a miracle.
How many years ago is that now? 20 years ago or more?
Yeah, I'm not sure the year.
I want to say it was before the year 2000.
It was in the 90s.
Jeez.
I was in Las Vegas in a sports book when that happened.
It's 2000. January 8th, 2000.
2000?
Yeah, Randy, you know why you're laughing. There was a lot of swearing.
On that
oh my gosh, there was a lot of yelling and screaming and swearing, and there was actually couches being overturned in the sports book.
Oh my God!
I'm not
no
kidding.
way.
No,
That's
I'm
awesome.
serious.
Oh yeah. I can imagine.
Brad sitting there with a prostitute in his lap, watching
not quite.
So a lot of folks, a lot of folks had money on the Buffalo Bills.
Oh yeah.
Legendary play. The Music City Miracle is what they call it. Wycheck was the guy who threw the ball across the field to, what the hell was the other guy's name? Dyson?
Yeah, Kevin Dyson.
Kevin Dyson, and they beat the Bills on that ridiculous play. But Frank Wycheck, his family announced yesterday that he died. That is so terrible. He's only 52.
Do we know cause of death?
It was a bad fall.
Yes, right.
Oh.
It sounds like he fell at home and whacked his head.
Oh my gosh.
Just really, really terrible. Got a couple of daughters. You got a couple of grandkids.
Oh.
So sad.
And he seemed like a nice guy. That's a real shame. Jesus Christ. He was one of the best from that franchise. I mean, he played for the Oilers, and then when they moved to Tennessee, they put him in their Ring of Honor. It was just what a
You just never know, man.
dang disaster. Just fell and hurt himself. College football handed out the Heisman Trophy over the weekend, the Best Player Award kind of a thing, if you don't follow the Heisman.
Yep.
And a quarterback from Louisiana State University named Jaden Daniels won the trophy. I can't say I ever saw the kid play.
Yeah, good player.
He's the second LSU quarterback in 5 seasons to win the award. Who was the other? Go!
Joe Burrow?
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say the one thing they all have in common, all of those Heisman candidates this year, they all were in the transfer portal.
I hate the transfer portal. I'm at the point now where I hate the transfer portal.
Yep,
I
they
can't
were
help
all in the transfer portal.
Can't have. I'm getting my nuts busted here by a few listeners. I forgot to mention in the Footlong Foles winning that pickleball tournament. I forgot to mention that he didn't use a racket. He didn't.
It's even more impressive.
And he didn't even. They said, "Here's your racket, sir," and he said, "No, I don't need a racket."
Oh, pickleball.
He just kept swinging his hips, man. Pop-hump. 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 Well, this is upsetting, but not surprising at all. Over the weekend, Shohei Ohtani signed up to play for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Was that official?
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Yep.
That's what I heard, Randy Shaver. The Dodgers have agreed to give him $700 million in trade to sign a 10-year contract with him. That sucks.
I was hoping he's going to go to Toronto.
Anywhere but, like Randy said last week, anywhere but the Dodgers, Yankees.
Right.
Who else did we mention again? I'm having a brain block.
Red Sox.
Cubs. The Dodgers, of course, are now the World Series favorite after signing.
We were right in it till the end.
I guess the one thing. I mean, I look at this deal, and I'm not taking anything. He's a phenom. There's no doubt about it. He's amazing, but you're getting a DH, basically.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. For
$700 million, you're getting a DH, and I applaud all the teams that were interested in him, but ended up not getting him. I think this may end up being a huge bust.
Oh, yeah.
For the Dodgers.
It's a huge, huge gamble that he's going to be able to come back and pitch the way that he used to.
That he could ever pitch the same way and be what he was with the Angels to be that going forward. I don't know if the risk is. I'm sure they're going to sell tickets and whatever, and the Dodgers don't need to do that either. They have so much TV money.
Yeah.
But Ohtani, I think it's a huge, huge risk.
Hey, tell you what, I'll remember that prediction, Randy Shaver. You think it might be a bust?
I think it might be.
I'll stick around and I'll follow that to see where it goes. That'd be really interesting if it was. I mean, I like the kid. He seems like a nice kid.
Can't take anything away from what he's done. It's one of the greatest stories in baseball in the last 10 years, easily.
Rod Carew. I don't know if you follow Rod Carew on Twitter, Randy, but he had one of the great.
I do.
He had one of the great responses to that story yesterday. He said, "But what is this in $1978? $700 million."
Good Lord. Speaking of all that money, here's I'll always walk with Elias. Jesus texted in to say that this guy must know how to do arithmetic. He said if you break down that $700 million contract, Shohei Ohtani will make. I don't know how the hell he did this. He'll make $50 a second during the season.
My goodness. That ain't bad.
Wow.
Lick me down. And here's where we're going now that Ohtani's off to play for the Dodgers. Baseball fans are demanding that the Angels trade Mike Trout. Oh, poor Mike Trout. He's only making $35 million a year. to play baseball in sunny and warm California surrounded by hot blondes. What a nightmare.
I think the Angels at this point probably have quite a bit of money to be able to spend. They may go out and spend some money now.
Yeah, maybe they will.
To put some talent around Mike Trout.
I mean, Trout just signed a $426 million contract 3-4 years ago. I mean, I understand. Let's get that whole cheesy, let's get him a championship. Isn't it about time? The guy's making $426 million.
He's doing all right.
He can finish in third place for the rest of his friggin' life. God help us. We always gotta, that's one of the new movements in sports. Let's hold this superstar's hand and get him a championship. I'm so tired of that crap. Don't you feel bad for Kevin Durant? What was it, a few years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, he's so great, but he doesn't have a championship.
The greatest players without a championship, that kind of vibe.
Yes, I just want to defecate all over the place.
According to front
I'm sure
office,
Cubby will appreciate that.
He loves me no matter what. I love him no matter. We could go ahead, Josh.
I'll be there for him when that happens. According to front office sports, Ohtani next year will make more than the entire roster of 8 teams.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Isn't that something?
It really is. If the guy was 24 years old and a 5-tool player playing center field every day and contributing in the field and doing, okay, fine, I get it, but he's not.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you,
bought
Randy
a
Shea.
DH.
You bought a DH. Now, people, but we got a real contrast in how people are doing their math out there.
I know, it's all different.
One listener says he makes $8,000 a day. Another listener says he makes $221,000 a day.
It's a big difference.
Don't ask me how to do it. You guys know.
Either one is fine by me. I'll sign up for either one.
Yeah. Either one sounds pretty good.
Right.
The Pigs ended their road trip last night with a shutout win over the completely unnecessary Seattle Kraken, 3-0. Old Phil made 24 saves. That's his second shutout of the season. Matt Boldy's putting up a lot of points here lately. The Kraken, totally unnecessary. They've lost 8 in a row.
Oof.
The shine has worn off the stupid Kraken. Completely unnecessary, dumb move to put a team up there. God, I can't stand some of this stuff. Can you tell?
No, we couldn't.
I cannot stand this stuff. Oh, we'll probably add a few more teams, probably expand, in the future. Need some more teams. It's just so watered down. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
Jonas Brodin was injured a night or two ago, so he's week to week. But, some of the improvements that the Pigs have made are very notable. Over the past 7 games since whatever the hell the head coach's name is, John
Hines?
Berglund.
No. He's the assistant coach.
Only a few people will get that.
Yeah, I got it.
Since they signed up this John Hines guy, he's coached 7 games.
Their games are on WLOL.
Yeah. And then they're going to sing Hubba Hubba Zoot Zoot. The Wild's penalty kill was garbage. Their penalty kill was garbage. Since they signed this Hines up, they're 20 for 23 on the penalty kill. And they got a little break ski now. They'll play Calgary Thursday night. More bad news, and this really breaks my heart. It really does. Doug McLeod has died.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Doug McLeod.
God, he was the voice, wasn't he, of Gopher hockey?
Yes, and I fell in love with him when he was calling North Star games back in the 80s and 90s.
91.
Yes,
Stanley Cup.
He was part of the 91 Stanley Cup run for the North Stars. Doug McLeod passed away. He lived down in Scottsdale, Arizona. Apparently, he had some heart problems. But,
70 years old.
Was he only 70?
Yeah.
Oh, God. And, if you followed Golden Gopher or North Star hockey over the last 35 years, whatever, you know who I'm talking about. He was such a fun guy to listen to broadcast a hockey game. Just fun.
Yeah.
He was
A voice of a generation for Gopher hockey.
Yep. Frank Mazzacco has a comment here. You know, Frank still calls Golden Gopher hockey games on the radio. Frank Mazzacco said of Doug McLeod, I would call him flamboyant. He would keep his audience. He would keep his audience laughing, and there's no doubt about that. I have some fond memories of some of Dougie McLeod's calls when he was working North Star games. I always enjoyed how anywhere this time of year, near Christmas, anytime this time of year, when you'd have a scrum out front of the net where the two teams are dumping cross checks into each other's kidneys, after the whistle, all the teams would come together in front of the net and beat on each other a little bit. Doug McLeod would always say, and they're exchanging holiday pleasantries in front of the net. When there was, a team that would attack the net, a team that would, what's the hockey term I'm missing? There's a term.
Crash the net.
Thank you, boys. When the North Stars would play a team that crashed the net, and they would all come filing in, before the whistle was blown, when the goalie was trying to cover the puck, Dougie McLeod would say, and a cast of thousands descends on the net. But my favorite line ever, and I know I've told this story before, Game 1 of the 1991 Stanley Cup Finals, North Stars at Pittsburgh. I mean, I've mentioned it a million times. This was the time of my life. I have never been so lawless and destructive, and we just had so much fun drinking ourselves sideways, up and down. We went to every game. But I'm watching on television Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. The game was in Pittsburgh, and Dougie McLeod and Lou Nanne were calling the game, and the national anthem singer that night at the Penguins rink, he dragged it out until you could barely stand it. It was one of those national anthems where you're just, oh, for the love of, they were, instead of, how this has become a regular thing now. Instead of just singing the song, you have to show off your vocal range.
I hate that.
And you have to try to sell your records by showing everyone. It was just how long the anthem took. It was ridiculous. And as the dude is wrapping it up that night in Pittsburgh, as he's wrapping it up, and the home of the, and Dougie McLeod says, oh, will you wave the white flag already? Oh, we surrender, for Christ's sake, he says. That was great. The Wolves are in New Orleans tonight.
Ooh, Pelicans, good team. Good test.
Is Zion Williamson, is he healthy?
Yes, they are
relatively.
all healthy, actually.
Relatively? McCollum is back?
Yes.
Okay. That's a tough team.
Ingram is back.
That's a tough team.
They're a good team. They're playing good basketball too. One thing to be a good team and know that you are, but the other thing to play. They got embarrassed. I think the Lakers embarrassed them in the tournament, but they're a good basketball team.
They're one of the teams in the West that kind of worries me. Like, how well can the Wolves match up with that team?
Well, that's a team that's totally dependent on, every team's dependent on health, but that one in particular, because they rely so much on Zion, that when he's healthy, that whole group, and he's not just a good presence inside, he's a great passer. And they play off of him quite a bit. So
I say relatively because he's kind of coming under fire for his being in shape or not being in shape.
Yeah, he's a big guy, boy.
And that's part of the reason why he's had to miss a little time here or there. But,
That's 7 o'clock on Bally Sports North. Okay, do you want to... Lil Boy Local 110 Jesus broke down the arithmetic on Shohei's contract from per second all the way to per year. Do you want to hear that, everybody?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
It's going to make you hate yourself. But this is Lil Boy Local 110 Jesus. He believes he's done all the correct arithmetic here. $2.22 per second.
Dang.
$133 per minute. $7,990 an hour. $191,000 a day, $1.3 million a week, $5.8 million a month, $70 million a year. Good Lord.
I can't even fathom having that kind of money.
You'd be dead.
Yeah, most definitely. Within a couple days.
If you're not dead within a couple of days when you get that kind of money, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
All right, back to basketball. LeBron James was named the MVP for the 2023 NBA in-season tournament. The Lakers won the damn thing, so there you go. The first ever in-season tournament is over. What did you think?
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I actually thought it was really good. I thought it raised the energy, certainly this week in watching the tournament games in Vegas, but also on those dates during the regular season. And I think now the players understand what it could mean and the money involved and all that stuff. I think it's only going to get better. I think the NBA will figure out a way to tweak some things and maybe make it better. For December basketball, to actually watch these guys play hard and play great defense, I thought it was great.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
They may try to figure out from a scheduling perspective how to kind of condense this into a time frame where people can understand what's going on a little bit better.
That was kind of weird. It was like, okay, is this a tournament game? Is this not a tournament game?
Yeah.
I still don't exactly know what happened. But the in-season tournament games that I watched were fun to watch. Go ahead. Keep it going.
Dana, sorry if you were going to move on to something else, but I just saw something on Twitter. Dana, you totally missed the boat on trademarking this Kohl's Cash thing with Cousins.
Oh, I know.
Because he is on, so I just noticed this on he's on the Manning cast tonight. No, I just noticed that. But they've got the Mannings have Omaha Productions as kind of like their overall thing that they use to promote things. Mm-hmm. If you go to Omaha Productions right now, there's a video of Kirk saying he's trying on different outfits with different shots, and he's saying, do you like that? Do you like that? Do you like that? After each one. And then at the very end, he says, I'm rolling in Kohl's Cash, so I chose this one.
Jeez. Doesn't he have a deal with Kohl's?
He does,
now?
Yeah.
You missed out on that.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
I can at least use a gift card or something, maybe get myself an air fryer.
Or some Kohl's Cash.
Yeah, I love that.
The guy can't get out of town fast enough. What else is going on? Now, this was a really cute bit. Josh, the DJ in Phoenix.
Oh, yeah, that was cold-blooded.
This was a really cute bit. Okay. The in-house DJ that plays tunes at Phoenix Suns home games pulled off a funny bit Friday night when the Suns were playing Golden State. Now, there's some background to this. The Suns beat Golden State in Phoenix a couple weeks ago. And the Warriors head coach Steve Kerr, after the game, when the media had their mics in his face, he complained about the loud techno music constantly played throughout Phoenix's home arena. He said, in this building, you can't hear anything because it's like a club. It's like a South Beach club out there. I couldn't hear anything. It's a thumping techno club music. Can we just have a basketball game anymore? This is what Steve Kerr bitched about after the Suns beat his club in Golden State a couple weeks ago. So Friday night, the Warriors are playing in Phoenix again, and the DJ at the Suns game, he turned Kerr's bitching into like a sample that they drop into the... He used Steve Kerr's complaints and used it in a song.
In this building, you can't hear anything because it's like a club. It's like a South Beach club. It's just this thumping techno club music. Thumping techno club music. Thumping techno club music. Thumping techno club music.
Dude, that's funny.
That's awesome.
Somebody give me some ecstasy. I want to dance around till dawn to that. You know what I mean? I want to go with the club kids.
Did they do that when he was on the floor?
I couldn't tell the exact situation, Josh.
Okay.
Could you tell what...
The article didn't say, but that would be pretty funny.
He was center court.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, he was center court playing that.
Well, yeah, but were the teams on the court?
No, I meant Kerr.
Yeah, he's talking about Kerr.
I didn't see on the sides.
Yeah. We know where the DJ was. We just didn't know if the clubs
I
were on
don't think he played it when Kerr was out there.
He should. I wonder if that's going to end up like... what's the term these days? Like iTunes or whatever will... What is the term, right?
Napster.
Like, it'll become a downloaded popular thing?
Yeah.
You guys got to help me with that.
Yeah, it'll start trending.
You can find
Trending,
it on
it'll
Spotify.
start trending on iHeart or whatever. I wonder if... Because that was cute. That was funny.
That would have been great if it was like the player introductions that he did it for.
Mm-hmm. I always like the bit, Golden Gopher basketball does that, where when the opposite club is being introduced, they'll play Cold as Ice by Foreigner.
Yeah.
So it'll be like, at a forward, number 26, Jimmy Dickworthy. And then the PA guy will hit the Foreigner song, and it'll go, "You're as cold as ice." I like that. It's fun.
You got to steal some of these names for your fantasy football teams next year, Randy. Jimmy Dickworth.
You guys know. You know that I know all the names. Oh, God. All right, we better get going again. Real quick, some history for you. 38 years ago today. Jesus criminy. Getting so old now. 38 years ago today, the Chicago Bears cut loose the Super Bowl Shuffle. They cut her loose on the world, the Super Bowl Shuffle.
Yeah.
And it was terrible.
Oh, I loved it as a kid.
Oh, took the country by storm.
I hated the Bears so much, I just wanted to vomit all over myself every time I saw the Super Bowl Shuffle.
I was in 5th grade. It came at the right time.
Yeah, I got over it, but just the sight of Jim McMahon would make my skin crawl in 1985.
I thought he was pretty cool.
Walter Payton was a different story. Everybody loved Walter Payton.
Right.
They probably won a few 3-0 games that year.
Yeah, they might have. And this one's for you, Randy Shaver, as we leave, as we cut loose out of here. Just like the Bears cut loose Super Bowl Shuffle. We got to get going. But Randy Shaver, 13 years ago today, Cam Newton won the Heisman Trophy. Suck on that.
Yeah, 13 years he won the Heisman, and he's been out of football for the last 4 years.
He won the Heisman.
Yeah, he had a 7-year NFL career.
Oh, for Christ's sake, he played in the Super Bowl. Give the guy some credit. Why can't you give him some credit? He's Cam Newton. He won the Heisman Trophy.
Go change your hat.
His hats are cool.
Do you know who finished second in the Heisman voting in 2010 when Cam Newton won the trophy? It was a quarterback by the name of Jerry Dickbaum. He played at Ball State University.
I have his jersey, actually.
Look it up. Dickbaum out of Ball State. Second place. We got to go. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow and stuff.
All right. Yeah. Half-assed morning show.
They're loud. They lose control. They do their little circus act. They're a nuisance.
93X.
Grace here, customer service rep at Standard Heating. I'm proud to work for a company that understands and takes care of our fellow Minnesotans. Our weather here can be a little unpredictable and even extreme. That's why we've been here for 93 years and counting, to keep our community safe and comfortable.
On behalf of myself and Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, we would like to wish you a very happy holidays. And don't forget, Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is open 24/7 for emergency services to make sure you stay warm this holiday season. Go to standardheating.com today.
Welcome to Talkville, the ultimate Smallville rewatch podcast. Title Crisis aired March 3rd, 2004. Director Kenneth Biller. He was a weird guy. He was talented and I liked him, but he was a weird fella.
The production loved him. The cast, Ken, if you're out there, I'm sure we get along.
A lot of these people, I don't want to call them pawns, but in a TV production, even directors are a lot of times pawns.
Jump in now or catch up on any of the past seasons of Talkville on YouTube or wherever you listen.
Dr. P. Jesus.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
All right. That's just great. 8:30, that's not 8:30, it's 8:24. Oh, and our next guest here at 8:24, not 8:34, is a good friend of the program. And by God, he whoops a llama's ass every time he joins us. If you have a question about your overall health, an illness, an injury, whatever, text us, 651-989-9393, and he'll see what he can do for you. Our guest in studio, Dr. James Parnell, otherwise known as Dr. P. Jesus. Good morning, James.
Good morning.
What's up?
Good
to see you again.
Yeah, you too. Is whipping a llama's rear end a good thing?
Yep, whooping a llama's ass.
That's
Not if you're a llama.
Right.
Dr. P, I was wondering this yesterday.
You bet.
Sometime between 3 p.m. and 6 or so, I was wondering this. Is it possible to die from boredom? Can you be so bored?
During that game?
Oh, yeah, the Vikings game was on at that time. Can you pass away from boredom?
You wonder. Yeah, could all your systems just say, we're going to just shut down?
I read an article earlier. This is what made me think of it. An article earlier talking about you can pass away from loneliness, sad as that is.
Yeah, that's
Not spending enough time with family family and friends,
Sure.
so you can die earlier.
And definitely, like infants, I think, do terribly if they. I mean, unfortunately, there's been weird experiments or kids, raised in a basement or a closet who do really poorly in animal studies where, I mean, we as humans do need human contact and probably some kind of activity, or otherwise we're kind of programmed to shut down.
Cubby, was there a time or two during yesterday's ball game where you felt as if you were slipping away?
I didn't know. Yeah,
I did not watch it. I guess it's hard to imagine a game going that far without a score.
It was bad, Dr. P. It was really bad.
Did you hear what Dr. P said a minute ago, Ashley? Were you listening?
What part?
Animals can die of loneliness.
Yeah, I heard that. It's awful.
That's going to keep her awake for 2 days.
It is awful. Yeah,
She's going to be calling up every pet rescue in town saying, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Whatever it is, I'll take it.
But you were gone all Friday.
Oh, gosh. My mom already guilt tripped me about leaving my dogs alone. She's like, you're always on the go, go, go. Don't they get sad? No.
Now we know.
This is the happiest they've ever been, actually.
They look fine to me.
Well, here's the deal. We appreciate you stopping by, Dr. P. Like I said, you always do your thing quite well here on the program. Folks are texting in as we speak. If you have a question for Dr. P, again, that number is 651-989-9393.
Texas Carpenter has a question for you right off the bat, and I apologize if some of these words are technical and medical yet, and if I mispronounce them.
Sure.
It's tough sometimes. Here we go. Whenever my brother Justin throws mud, he literally goes through an entire roll of toilet paper and sometimes says he still isn't clean. He said he pretty much wipes till he bleeds. What's causing this?
Jeez, you got to know when to stop.
Throws mud. It's not a term I've heard a lot, but I think I know.
Oh, that's not a medical term?
Never heard that.
I assume it was Latin or something. Okay.
Yeah. It would be pronounced somewhat different. Throsis mudicis or something.
Damn.
Well, that's interesting.
Till he bleeds.
Oh.
This is an interesting topic that has come up. It's not exactly medical, but did your parents or whoever taught you to use the potty, did they teach you to roll the paper onto your hand or fingers, or did they tell you to bunch up the paper?
I think bunch up, but I don't fully remember.
My parents always taught me to roll it over my hand, but then take it off my hand.
Oh,
some people keep it on there and only use one side.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay. It is funny. I mean, you would think it would be something that would be sort of regimented, like what's the best way to use toilet paper? And I don't know that there is a best way. So could he just be doing something bizarre with the toilet paper?
Yeah.
Could he be using sandpaper?
Right. Or, it's hard to imagine.
A toilet brush.
How you could go through all of that. But,
well,
he's probably got some problems with constipation. So he's not I've heard gastroenterologists describe when you're ready to throw mud.
Yeah.
If your body's working correctly, you should sit down on the toilet.
I love it when you said that.
It should be
the way you said
it.
It
should be effortless.
It should be effortless.
And then it should be done. It should be quick, clean.
Okay.
Because
I'm in trouble.
If you're pushing, if there's explosions or residue, it means things are not quite right.
You're speaking my language.
Yeah, so it's so if then you're sort of cleaning up multiple messes or something. So I don't know.
It should be clean and effortless. My God,
right.
I've been doing it wrong from the get-go.
Effortless was I really.
Well,
do
no, I
remember
know
that
what you
word.
mean. I know what you mean.
So something's just going on, and then maybe it really is just inappropriate use of paper.
Yeah, he just doesn't have the right procedure mastered just yet.
Yeah, a lot of people are texting in saying, bidet, bro. Get a bidet.
I mean,
we hear so many things about that.
I actually do have a bidet seat that, you don't get a whole new toilet. You basically put it on the seat and you hook it up to the water, and you have to have a little
I have one of those
supply.
too.
And it is pretty nice. I mean, it puts a smile on my face every time.
My boyfriend refuses to go to the bathroom other places because he's like, I don't have my bidet.
Yeah, right. It's so I think so they could look into that, but if there's something like hemorrhoids going on, that can cause a problem because instead of just an opening with nothing in the way, you've got some three-dimensional objects on the outside that are hard to clean.
Sure.
So something like that. So it would it would be, it's probably good to go talk to somebody because,
I'm at an age now where me and my buddies will have conversations about our toilet routines and habits.
Toilet habits.
And I've heard this a lot, that you just wipe and wipe and wipe, and it never seems to get the job done. So this guy, you're not alone. You're not alone. I hear these stories where it's very frustrating.
And I think hemorrhoids probably is a common thing because it's just, it's more common as you get older, and especially as, with like all good Americans, we're overweight, and that increases the likelihood of hemorrhoids.
And I'm a plumber's nightmare. If we go back to talking about how we were taught to wipe or what our procedure is with the paper, right?
Yeah.
I more or less make myself a pillow.
Really? You use a lot?
Oh, yes, I do.
I'm a minimalist.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh, I make myself a big fat-ass pillow before I even go anywhere near. And so I go through toilet paper like a crackhead. It's just... But that's my style.
What was the movie, the Sylvester Stallone movie, where
they used the shells?
Was it shells or 3 shells or rocks? 3 shells.
Oh, God, that terrible Demolition Man.
It was a terrible movie, but it was just a funny thing. But the thing is, I think it's sort of like, we have toilet paper, and nobody really knows exactly the best way to use it.
Yeah.
And it is also surprising we haven't come up with something like 3 shells.
Well,
something a little more
it's going to happen in the future, according to the movie.
Yeah, and I think the paper companies are highly invested in not having that happen.
Oh, I'll tell you what, they make a fortune off of me. A fortune.
During the pandemic, nobody was clearing the shells off the floor, or the shelves, I guess I should say, in some of those stores. Everybody had that toilet paper shortage. That was insane. Millennial Steel Cutter Jesus said, can you ask Dr. P, my coworker is always sick. He's got the worst immune system ever. What can a person do to strengthen their immune system?
I wonder what it's like to work with someone who's always sick.
I don't know.
Right,
Just look over here.
I wonder what that's like.
Well, let's see. Strengthening your immune system. I guess that's one thing to talk about.
Vitamins?
Yeah, the first thing is some people do have like a hereditary condition where they may have an immune deficiency of some type. And
sure.
Sometimes that doesn't get identified as an actual condition in a child, but it can carry on into adulthood. And so that's a much more difficult thing, where you may not be forming the normal antibodies that protect us from all sorts of things, or a number of other infection-related things. Something like cystic fibrosis, where you have all sorts of trouble with lung function, that's usually going to become obvious. But for someone who doesn't have a genetic condition, I think, general nutrition is probably the main thing.
All right. More like vegetables and fruits and such?
Yeah, basically a balanced diet, making sure you're not deficient in anything particular. It's if you're truly someone who gets sick that often, it's good to be seen by a doc and sort of at least have the basic blood work to say.
Vitamin C?
Vitamin C is good, I think, but the evidence for it is not. It's not like taking tons of it is gonna really help you.
It's weird. Yeah, you keep seeing articles saying vitamins are a scam.
I think
vitamins don't do what some people say they do.
I think
you're just better eating.
I think they don't do what a lot of people claim they do. And we in our society, we're fortunate that even though foods have way too many calories, they have plenty of vitamin stuff in them. So we get what we need to survive for the most part. Versus hunter-gatherer societies, you could easily be deficient. Or if early agricultural societies where you only ate corn products and you didn't have any then clearly, or if you're on a ship at sea you're a pirate and you're on a ship, then you have vitamin C deficiency and you might have scurvy, or you have vitamin, whatever.
You're all over the history book here. I love this.
Yeah, but so there are, in history, there was a lot of vitamin deficiency. In reality, these days, there's not a ton.
Okay.
And I think we've talked before, certain vitamins, D, E, A, and K, are fat soluble. So those you can actually store. Other ones, like vitamin C particularly, if you take a ton of it, your body, you just urinate out extra.
Oh God!
So if you spend a lot of money on that vitamin C, you're basically making your urine expensive.
Nick peed a rind the other day. It
I
was
did.
hot.
An orange rind.
Kiss My Butt Cancer Jesus said, can you ask Dr. P, what does it mean when my core is always hot and makes me hot and sweaty, but my arms, hands, and feet are always freezing?
What the living hell's going on out there?
Okay, core.
My core is always hot and his limbs are freezing?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well,
never heard of that.
Yeah, I mean, cold hands and feet, I guess, is maybe the way I would think of it. Is not necessarily an uncommon complaint. People have. It's good to have your thyroid checked. So that's a blood test. Hypothyroidism tends to make people feel cold. I mean, there are a variety of conditions, things like Raynaud's phenomenon. I don't know if you've heard of that, where people get sort of spasm of blood vessels in particularly like the fingers, but it can be in the feet too, where if you're exposed to cold at all, or cold in like the winter, but also if you walk into an air-conditioned place in the summer, so just colder than it was, you can get basically like blue fingers and really cold, and that can be a major pain.
We're getting a few people texting and wondering if he always wears a vest. That might explain it.
Yeah, I mean, our bodies are very good at keeping our cores warm, just because that's where your major organs are. So, I mean, if you're injured, if you're in a war and you have an injury to a limb, your body starts to sort of shut down the periphery and preserves the core. I mean, obviously, if you're walking around and you're normal, that shouldn't be happening. But,
right.
Yeah,
it's really interesting, though.
So it could be a number of things. It could be a problem with, nerves that are giving a sense of cold, even if you're not cold. So it's something, to really tease it out, it takes a lot of questions and then some physical exam. And then if there's really concern, doing some probably blood tests or other tests on circulation.
When I was a kid, there was a gal that I grew up with who had circulation issues. And then, by God, Josh, she's only human. She dug me in grade school. She wanted to be my girlfriend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
She couldn't help herself. She wanted to be my girlfriend. And so then, of course, we had to hold hands. And I agreed to be her boyfriend. And then the first time we held hands, I could not believe how cold her hands were. It was like holding hands with the Bumble. From Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Okay.
Oh, I could not believe. I felt so bad for her, and her hands were often blue, bluish, I should say. Not like she, dipped her hand in the toilet bowl.
Concerning.
But yeah, it was. I thought, wow, what a situation to be in day after day after day.
Did you break up with her right after that?
Because of her cold hands?
I just can't hold hands with you.
I have to be honest with you, it was tough to hold hands with her, but we got to, once we had a few beers.
Few people
in elementary school.
That'll warm you up. A few people are texting in on the vitamin topic and mentioning elderberries. They've heard good things about that, and we're curious if you had any thoughts or were aware of it.
And also, what about schnozberries, too? I'm curious about schnozberries.
Elderberries, wasn't that in Monty Python?
Is this a joke?
Father smelt of elderberry. Elderberries may be a real thing.
I've heard people talk about using that.
Yeah, I mean, berries are...
I thought I saw those in one of those, like, Nature's Made jugs at Walgreens or something.
It could be. I guess I just remember from Monty Python. But yes, a lot of those berries... they do have vitamin C. They have antioxidant properties, which is, I mean, it's not a bad thing, but going crazy having that, I don't know that you're going to change your life by hitting that hard. But there's people who swear you will.
Oh yeah, a few people have texted in saying that they swear by it.
Elderberries, okay.
Yeah, it's there's lots. If we listen to everybody who swears by something, there's a lot of things you should be doing.
That's true.
And so it's in my profession, we have to sort of take that with a grain of salt, and we have to take even our own advice with a grain of salt sometimes, because it changes over time, and it's based on the best science that we can do, but that's still not perfect.
We're jaw-jacking with our doctor friend, Dr. P. Jesus, here on the Half-Assed Morning Show. 651-989-9393 is the number if you want to get a hold of us and ask a health question. And by God, the questions are piling in. You're such a popular guy. Here's a different route than we've taken this morning so far. Sperm.
Cool.
We're going to head down that direction.
Usually that's a topic that comes up.
It is. I feel like the last couple times we've really avoided that
We have.
kind of whole thing, which has been, maybe good for the show.
This is real simple. Listener says, I need to make a donation this week for IFV. Nope. I got it wrong the second time. IVF.
Yeah.
I need to make a donation this week for IVF testing to make sure my boys can swim. What is IVF again? Go ahead.
In vitro fertilization.
Okay.
So basically, connecting the sperm and eggs in a not a test tube, basically a test tube, baby.
Petri dish.
Yeah, Petri dish. There you go.
Sperm and eggs.
Yeah,
that's how your godson was.
Sperm and eggs for breakfast.
Wheat toast. Okay, so the simple question is, what is a good sperm count? Give them a number if you can.
Oh.
Do you know these things? You know sperm?
I know sperm.
Yeah.
Yes. I have several friends who are great friends who are sperm, but I don't know the numbers. I mean, when you get a report, it gives the normal ranges for, and it's not just the count. So it is the number of sperm. It's it's how they look. So the appearance. If they look funny, then you get points taken off.
Yeah, it's like the motility.
Motility,
the shape.
Exactly. Yes, you want them to be swimming in a direction, not swimming in circles like they don't know what's going on.
Jesus, are you serious?
Yeah,
like some of them just swim in circles, don't know what the hell's going on. That's hilarious.
I remember this very well, simply because when they, I went through the same thing. And when they tested me, they said, all right, there's 4 things we look for. And they meant the things you mentioned, right? And they're like, you're bad in every single one of them. All 4. I failed all 4. And I thought that it was like the normal range was like 15, 20 million to like 200 million. The range was huge.
And you had 32.
And I had 1.
Yeah, 1.
He's looking around like, where'd everybody go?
Yeah.
No kidding.
I mean, a report that really has bad grades for sperm analysis does make a guy feel kind of bad, I must say.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, I wouldn't give a rat's ass.
Yeah, they were shaped wrong. They moved wrong.
Yeah.
They were lonely.
So I don't know what the numbers are.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Exactly. But yes, because the ranges are huge and some of the stuff is a little bit obviously subjective. I guess the swimming thing. I don't know. I actually don't know how they grade that. It's not like the Olympics where there's 4 judges and.
Well, it just gets lost. It doesn't know. Wait, that's what I'm supposed to do. Head that way.
You got to know what you're doing.
But usually, if there's any questions with the sample, they have you do one more. You don't fail based on only one.
Okay.
If you do one and it's great, then you probably won't.
Not in the same day. They don't make us go twice. Thank God.
Right.
Thank
And
God.
you want to abstain a little bit and, probably drink plenty of water, take some elderberry juice.
I hear you.
Along those lines, fold shaver like a taco, Jesus.
Oh, my God.
Ooh.
What do you know about pain in the scrotum/sphincter after ejaculation?
Let's see. So what did they say? The sphincter?
Scrotum and sphincter.
Oh, scrotum and sphincter.
That could just the scrotum.
Sphincter.
The scrotum, I would guess, might just be an impact injury.
So they're talking about the butt sphincter.
That's what they said. Sphincter.
Okay. Well, I always love to go to the prostate because the prostate, for a guy, the prostate is it's on the list if there's any symptoms down there, especially if they are. If it's kind of vague like that, it's not. There's a couple different areas because basically the prostate is up under the scrotum and just in front of the sphincter. So that's probably what's going on. That there's maybe a little bit of prostate irritation. Just having anything else explain that, unless there's concerns about sexually transmitted diseases, that's always something that needs to be considered. Could you have chlamydia or gonorrhea, and then that would cause some discomfort. But yeah, if you're not at risk for that, or if you've had testing and that's negative, the prostate is the thing that tends to give men symptoms anywhere from the sort of tip of the penis into the testicles into the vague area of the perineum there.
That's the hot spot.
That is the hot spot.
Yeah, if you're having any issues in that general area, get that looked at first. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Dr. P. Jesus.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Yeah. That's our in-studio guest right now, Dr. P. Jesus. And we got a few more minutes for Dr. P to try to help you out. He's taking your health-related questions this morning on the program. 651-989-9393 is the number if you want to try to squeeze one in real quick. Thanks for coming in, Dr. P. I got a couple of interesting questions here before we go.
Great.
Not that too many of our listeners have to worry about this specific issue, but it's an interesting question, I think. Dr. P, why do our sides hurt when we laugh too much? Being just your average dumb dildo myself, I would guess it's a muscular thing. Is it a muscular thing? The muscles that we use to laugh?
I think it has to be. But yeah, what is that? Is that the same feeling that you get if you like overexert yourself and you get like a cramp in that area?
Yeah, it almost feels the same.
Huh. I mean, it could be intercostal muscles, the muscles literally between the ribs. I guess I've never actually been asked that or thought about it. Just like, if you go to the restaurant and you get ribs, it's not human ribs, but it is. We have muscle just like that between our ribs, and we don't really think of that.
Yeah.
So, those muscles can get strained or fatigued. I almost wonder if it's not something to do with your diaphragm, though.
The diaphragm. You hear about that. Singers and whatnot usually talk about their diaphragm.
Yeah. And, we don't, the diaphragm for the most part it's on cruise control. We don't, if you start to think about your breathing, then you might notice like, oh God, I'm not breathing.
Right.
But, it just keeps going. But, if you are laughing or exerting yourself really hard, the diaphragm is working like crazy. And laughing, I think, because it's sort of this spasmodic thing, that maybe the diaphragm just gets a little bit like almost of a cramp in it, and that will feel weird. So that's probably more likely.
Well, close enough. And like I said, not many of our listeners are in danger of such a thing.
Well, this show makes them laugh like that.
Well,
sometimes.
I'll tell you what.
This text says, I'm seeing a guy who has one giant testicle, in all caps. The other one's normal size, but one is friggin' huge. He said it doesn't hurt, but we haven't gotten any details as to why it's like that. What could it possibly be? That's from I drive a Hyundai, but ride your dad, Jesus.
So his his balls are like Schwarzenegger and DeVito in the movie Twins.
Well, it's the kind of thing that if they haven't always been that way,
that would be a problem.
And one has gotten a lot bigger. Yes, I would say you definitely want to get it looked into. And I guess if I had that, I would probably want to have some understanding. It's probably not the actual testicle that's that large. It is probably like a hydrocele around it, which is basically intra-abdominal fluid that's in a sac around the testicle.
Really?
Isn't one always bigger? And I thought I heard usually
one's always lower.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
lower.
The left is usually lower.
Josh, you were making the common mistake. You make this mistake a lot. You were thinking about boobs.
That's true.
Yeah,
that is true. But definitely there is asymmetry in breasts. But yes, only in the position have I heard of definite asymmetry in testicles. I think there's got to be some variation, but that would be the most likely thing, just because. For a testicle itself to be remarkably different, that seems unusual. I guess the other thing is, could the other one just be small?
Right.
Is there such a thing? And that can happen from injury, falling or taking a bad
sitting on a bicycle.
Yeah, I wonder what she means by huge.
I don't know.
Yeah, because in comparison to the other one, it may be huge, but maybe it's normal size. So,
and again, like the doctor said, I hope this didn't just start a month ago.
Right. Then you don't want to be ignoring that. But
is there such a thing as elephantitis of the nuts, or is that just an old joke that won't go away?
No, I think that was really from, what am I completely blanking? The mumps could cause essentially massive swelling of the testicles.
God dang.
Yeah, probably, and sort of other kind of viral illnesses like that.
Good Lord.
Boy, the Wild a couple of years ago must have had some pretty big nuts in the locker room. They all had the mumps.
That's
Jesus,
right.
You're right. That mumps just swept through the locker room, and everybody was, everyone was swinging around like a damn wildlife, how do I say this, Discovery Channel type thing. Another really interesting question, and I'm a gullible sumbitch. Sometimes I don't know if someone's messing with me here, but I'm going to go ahead anyway. That's my job, just to go ahead anyway. Dr. P, a listener, says, my girlfriend constantly has to blow her nose. She fills my wastebasket with tissues every time she comes over. I've heard it might have something to do with her still having her wisdom teeth. Is that the silliest thing you've ever heard? Like I said, I don't know if people are messing with me. How could your wisdom teeth have something to do with blowing your damn nose? Am I missing a joke here? Anybody?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. I mean,
I got to be honest. I didn't pass the doctor exam, so I'm gonna let Dr. P take this.
Yeah. I guess I don't think that would be an issue, but I mean, you can have like a dental infection that. I mean, if you think about it, your teeth are obviously in bone, and then above that bone are your sinuses, which are connected to your nasal passage.
All right.
But wisdom teeth shouldn't be, growing up into your sinus. So I have not heard of that relationship.
Okay.
But if they're, it's a question if they're constantly inflamed, because that's the concern is it's hard to brush them. They're at a weird angle. They may have not completely erupted through the surface, so you can't really clean it properly. If there is chronic inflammation, then and it's really bad, I suppose. But in that case, you really want to get those things out of there.
Wouldn't that be something to have a partner who's just constantly blowing their nose all day long?
That'd frustrate me eventually. Stop it.
Wouldn't you assume they're like on cocaine or something?
Is it really necessary?
You would wonder. But yeah, I mean, so that's the other thing. What else could be causing it? Some people have allergy symptoms. If they have a cat. And she's allergic to cats, seasonal allergies, and then some people just have sort of chronic rhinitis that's not allergic that can be very annoying, but there's steroid nasal sprays that are over the counter, Flonase, various things like that can help.
Wow.
But
there's a lot of problems to worry about.
And did her parents teach her how to use Kleenex properly? Just like the toilet paper.
Right.
Got an update on the testicle from I drive a Hyundai but ride your dad Sheezes.
Yes.
She said it's not a chance that one is just small. When I say it's massive, I mean like the size of an avocado, she said.
Oh, my God. Well, yeah, you got to go get that checked out. It's probably a hydrocele, which is a remnant from when boys develop and testicles drop out of the abdomen, down into the scrotum. There can be sort of this sac of fluid there that but it can cause pain. And if it's that large, that's usually what it is. It's sort of similar to a varicocele, but that's a blood vessel that's enlarged. But so that that's different. That's the bag of worms in the scrotum versus the avocado in the scrotum.
I hate it when you say that. You use that a lot, and I understand. It makes sense. It's a good way to help people understand what you're talking about.
But it does cause vomiting. Yes.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, we have to assume, don't we, Josh, that this guy has not had that thing looked at?
The testicle? Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
I mean, it needs, you go in, you see your primary care doctor, and
or doesn't want to talk about it if he has.
If you had an avocado knocking around your damn drawers every day, I would go crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you really got to be not wanting to get that addressed. Yeah.
I think I'd show it to the doctor even if I wasn't worried about it. You know what I mean? Like, hey, look at this.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Well, like you said, Doc, unless it's something he's just always had, and maybe it's just
it could have been like that. But you would think that, unless he's not been to the doctor in a long time, a physical exam, we check the testicles, and a doc would say, oh, hey, that's not normal.
That's odd looking.
And an ultrasound, is sort of the definitive way. I mean, honestly, for a hydrocele, you can basically use like the bright light we use to look in the ears or the eyes, and you can hold it up there, and if it lights it up like a light bulb, it's pretty much a hydrocele because it's just fluid.
God dang, that's very interesting and
remember
somewhat
the dude
disturbing.
Whose testicles were so big he had to like wheel them around. That guy. He finally had surgery. I mean, I can't even imagine.
I'll tell you what. If that dude with the avocado nad, if he drank at my neighborhood bar every time he walked in, I'd have to play Big Balls by AC/DC. Just have his own theme music when he comes strutting through the door.
Yeah, he should go get that checked out because you want to know what's going on, and obviously if it's something that's bad, that's gotten out of hand.
Unbelievable. Really? I've never heard of anything like that before. Avocado sized. Here's the deal. We got to pull the plug. But Dr. P, thanks again for all your help.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah, thanks, Dr.
Good
P.
to be here.
Nice to see you, and we'll hopefully be able to drag you in here in a couple weeks.
Cool.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
On behalf of myself and Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, we would like to wish you a very happy holidays. And don't forget, Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is open 24/7 for emergency services to make sure you stay warm this holiday season. Go to standardheating.com today.